I totally wasn't muted. I totally wasn't muted. Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Nobody move! Nobody move! By the power of plagiarism, I cast arms on plagiarism.
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Cast bread over every egg.
No, I'm already distracted enough not to point and laugh. You can't do this to me. You can't do this to me. Welcome in though, guys. How is your, what's today? Thursday. It is Thursday. Yes, very much. Very much Thursday. Guess what dropped today? Five Nights at Freddy's 2 trailer. Garf Kart 2. Hulk Hogan to the floor. What, am I missing anything else? Am I forgetting anything else? Am I forgetting? Yep, the FNAF 2 trailer. Well, I'm glad I already have it open for us to watch. Thumbs up, thumbs up.
There's our man. There's our man. There's our boy.
Back of man gone. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. I think it's funny too, seeing like all the people posting fucking like articles and posts of like all the people over the years who hated on Hulk Hogan, including Andre the Giant. Oh my God, Freddy, go around and be like, more. I hate you. Yes, true. The voice actor for Professor Oak, Meowth, James, Gary Oak passed away. Hey, blowing up chat is my thing. Aww. Aww. Rip Gary Oak. Rip Gary Oak. But welcome in, guys. Today is going to be a weird day. The thing is, though, it's technically still going to be kind of on brand. So this coming Monday, we're doing a 12-hour stream starting at, well, 5 a.m. Central, my time. And it is going to be exhausting because I promised I was going to do a lecture. And I couldn't figure out what we were going to lecture about until like fucking yesterday. And I've barely started it. I've basically only made the title screen. That is pretty much fucking it. To quote the Iron Sheik, fuck the Hulk Hogan. The Hulk Hogan. Malcolm Jamal Warner passed away. It's been over 4 days, hasn't it? Professor Mowing? Professor Mowing? Listen, I don't know about Professor. I think it'll be fun. Can you add fancy transitions? I'm using Canva for this one. Because when I went to college, like the only option I had was fucking PowerPoint or the Google version of PowerPoint. Actually, I'm curious. I actually double checked. Who remembers Prezi? Does anybody remember Prezi? Hold on, I need to change the name on this. Okay. Squats? No. I hardly know her. Okay, if you don't know the program Prezi, well, kind of program, kind of website, it was brand spanking new towards like the end of the time when I was in college, and it was cool. It was basically like a giant PowerPoint with all the slides kind of like all over the place on it. And as you transition between them, it would like zoom out and zoom in, and you could have like really cool effects on it. It was really fun. I found it yesterday and I was like, maybe I'll try it again. Literally the first thing it makes you do is put in a fucking AI prompt. You are forced to let them fucking AI generate a PowerPoint for you. And then you can go change it. Slides, 90% of the transitions? Correct. Deletes all your save files? No! A decoy save file. You'll never find the real save file. It's in the porn folder. Miss Paint the whole presentation then? MS Paint the whole presentation? Nah, we're using Canva because I wanted to use one of their templates. Because I like stylizing my PowerPoints typically. But if I tried to do it now, I'd probably just end up frustrating myself with using like regular PowerPoint or using Google PowerPoint. So I found one I kind of like. It's dark. It's kind of mysterious. It looks though like it was used for like a promo for somebody's movie, I think. Like that seems to be the plan for this. Forced to use Prezi in an ACE program I was in. Yeah, we had to use Prezi. That's how I know about it in an English course. The teacher discovered Prezi like midway through the semester and became obsessed with it and told us that we had to do our final presentation in Prezi. Lab Husky is barking at you. Well, tell him I love him and give him kisses on your head. There's no porn, only power. PowerPoints. Oh. Oh. Oh no. Delete System 32? No! All right. All right. So what we're going to do today, it's probably not going to be too different. It's going to be a little different. We're going to be in the co-working category later after we stop doing our usual chatting thing. And we're probably going to do Paranormal Twinks again. But Paranormal Twinks is going to be more of a background thing. I'm going to bring the screen now and we'll have my whole monitor that I'm working on the PowerPoint and stuff on. And probably looking stuff up on. I may have to close it here and there because one of the things I want to do, again, I haven't told y'all the name yet. I'm calling it the Charlatan's Guide to Ghost Hunting. So the point of view I'm doing it is I'm going to have like, I want to get the notes down on like what like manufacturers say that their equipment is for, what it actually does, and like all that stuff. So there's gonna be a lot of searching, a lot of looking around. The way I do PowerPoints too is a little different from like, say like if you were in college and you remember your professors having just white background and a shitload of words on the screen. How many of y'all had teachers that were like that? That it was just fucking word wall. First slide, Ghost Talker. No. We are gonna do the apps. We are gonna talk about the apps, including the AI art generating one. You have so many, it was easy to install it while you slept. The tail slumps off the bed. No, baby. Time to write the go round PowerPoint. No more twit longers. Oh no. Oh no. No, but the thing that I'm going to do with this is, and I always do this with my PowerPoints, is the PowerPoint presentation is nothing more than a like reminder for what I need to talk about. For what the focus is at this current moment. It is something for y'all to look at momentarily and not have to try and like read through, because I'm going to present the information that's generally the topic of the stream or of the slide. Had a substitute bio teacher in high school that straight up had textbook levels of text that you're supposed to transcribe. Fuck that shit. No, my fucking consoles. My fucking consoles, dude. How could you, Ordain? How could you? You spend money on those consoles. Spend money on those consoles. I even bought one of those like little portable what do you call them? Portable emulator things that looks like a Game Boy. Kind of like a Game Boy, the Abernick or whatever it is. Then don't touch my knives. Too fucking bad. Those are my knives, dingus. You keep taking my knives. Oh, Reg Comic-Con starts this week? Ooh. Wait, San Diego Comic-Con? I backed up the files of all those gaming consoles into the knives in Ordain's tail. He would never burn them. Oh my god. The Soulja Boy handheld? I did not buy the Soulja Boy handheld. Oh, fucking please. Oh, you got a license for those knives? Nah, Ordain's Dutch. They don't have knife licenses. Okay. Chat, do we want to look at some of these trailers? I have 2 of these trailers open. The question is, do we want the scary one first or do we want the goofy one first? I think we're doing the goofy one. Michael Jackson. Oh no, this is the Alien Ant Farm cover of Smooth Criminal. Oh shit. All right, we'll save this for after that because I need to go change the audio. And then I want to do a little bit of stuff before I have to get back to work. All right. All right, kids. Focus up. It's Garfield time. It's Garf Kart time. One of the worst racing games I've ever played. Hope to God they fucking fix it in this one. Thing was so fucking clunky. Good lord. Slip. Yep. Oh my god. Why did they do this? Why did they do this? Okay, at least the drift there looked a little bit better. I do kind of like the cartoon style. It even has like the comic book dots. Oh, but it looks so clanky. Oh no, it's what is it? It's stylization that they've gone for. Split screen. Ayo. Ayo. Wait, are we gonna find out this is coming out on more than just like PC? September? Oh my god. Nickelodeon, Eden, Microids. Okay, so Epic Games, Steam, Switch, Xbox Series X. Okay, everything. Everything. Everything gets garfed. You can't run from the garf. It's a feisties. I think basically the dictionary definition of lethargic. Listen, they gotta describe a cat as something. Marin Community Game Night, we all gonna do Garfield Kart together. That's fucking, I have like a version where somebody's drawn me as, or Garfield as me is more like the way to describe it. And I've played it before. We had a collab like over 2 years ago where we played Garf Kart 1. All right. Movie trailer time. Movie trailer time, kids. What is this? What do you mean, what is this? That was Garfield Kart. Marin, go Garf. Oh no. I don't, what the fuck is with all that shit on top?
Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Definitely not the Freddy's I remember.
You're thinking of the franchise location.
Huh?
Is the original. Nobody's been here for decades.
Oh boy. Okay, this is what I see from the, wait, this wasn't the, in the game it wasn't the original, right?
Hear what?
The game didn't say that the one that they were in was original. Oh, I'm sure that's fine. Wait, this is also the location that had the mangle, isn't it? Right?
So this is what it's like? Being normal?
I think we've come pretty far, considering what we've been through.
Oh no.
How's that?
Oh no. Are we gonna get a return story? Ah, Pippin, how are you doing?
This is her friends.
This story that you're gonna fix those animatronics? It's only giving her false hope.
Can any of you hear me?
Are we getting... Is this like 3 FNAF movies, not movies, games shoved together?
Oh no.
Oh, I hate this. Oh, there's the mangle. I was
They're out
right.
there, Mike.
Played the Lord of the Rings. Ooh. Return to Moria, Return to Moria.
Everywhere.
Oh, there's the puppet.
Where are you going, blonde, to? Not done with you.
School? Wait, they're gonna leave the pizzeria? Oh my god.
There's no way that'll work.
Really? Really? Hi, Melissa. How are you doing? But I gotta call Nicolas Cage to come down and beat these animatronics in submission. Yeah, we need wordless Nicolas Cage. Yeah, we need wordless Nicolas Cage for this one. All right. Those are the two trailers I had that I wanted to watch today. I did not click chair. And that was literally just because I opened YouTube before this because I was going to go find what we were going to use as like background noise. And those were literally at the top of my recommended. Matthew, not Matt Pat can come back and shout Music Man. Maybe. Fazballs 2 will be interesting watch, not gonna lie. Fazballs. Oh goodness. Oh shit, launch day for Killing Floor 3 is today? They literally just had their beta 2 days ago, dude. 2 days ago. All right, guys, stress test time. All right, it's good enough. All right, guys, release it. Go ahead, go play it. Go play Killing Floor. That is a lot of spin. That is a hell of a lot of spin. Good fucking lord. New Sabaton announcement today. Is it new cover or what was the Sabaton announcement? When did that get announced? Like over a year ago, Jay. Over a year ago. You don't remember the like crazy high graphic trailer showing some of the monsters? Oh yes, Labubu, gambling for kids. I mean, isn't that also what Chuck E. Cheese's is? The child casino. If we kill more of the floors, do I get do I get more raises? No. New single? What's the song? What's the song? 12-song album is being announced today. 12-song Hordes of Khan. Ooh. Is it being announced or is it being released? It's very important. This is very, very important. Oh my goodness. Okay. I investigated luxury vegan restaurants. Oh no. Okay, hold on. I'm kind of curious. I'm going to save that for later. We may do that on a Tuesday someday. At some point. Okay. Yeah, okay. Let's go find our twin paranormal video for the day. I don't think we're going to do too much lollygagging because there's going to be like a lot of yapping while we're working. Then I'm taking all the trapezes thingies out. The trapezes? Not my trapeze. Why are you taking my trapezes out? I don't understand. What does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything? Good lord, I forgot about their fucking banner, dude. I'll stick to the Who when it comes to... What? Oh, that's just you butchering words. To the Who when it comes to Genghis. That doesn't sound right. I don't like that. I don't like Genghis Khan. That feels racist. I don't like that shit one little bit. But let me see if I can find something for us to run in the background. I want to find one of their, I guess maybe newer, longer ones, but I want like a bigger location than just a fucking house. Just no fucking, oh. I mean, we could go back to the Superstition Mountains and finish that video. Well, if we're killing the floor, we can't be standing on the floor. That's why Marin was upside down on the ceiling on the one of the Killing Floor streams. That's true. That is correct. That is correct. It's how you write it in Mongolian with the Latin alphabet, Baron. Okay, you are technically correct on the first word, but that second version of Khan was butchered to shit. Good lord. Sometimes I forget exactly how long ago Genghis Khan was. That he was born in 1155. Oh no, between 1155 and 1167. Not known for sure. Shockingly, a 12-year difference. Okay. He lived to 65? That's actually pretty good. That's pretty good in that day and age. Okay. Okay, that's enough looking at Genghis Khan. The great progenitor, if you will. You don't want a house? Too bad the house is what you're getting. I want one of their like longer ones that's like Insane Asylum or Hospital. Oh, that's the lighthouse. We've seen the lighthouse. Charlie. Oh God, Charlie, really? Skinwalker Ranch? Skinwalker Ranch? Skinwalker Ranch?
Do you guys remember?
Shut up. Shut up. All right, no talking yet. Scanch, not the Scanch. Oh my God, the Swanch. Instead of Swalker, it's the Swanch. The Schwalker Swanch. Skinwalker Cranch. Stalkers! Multiple boats near the dock. My fucking boats! Why do you do this to me? Why, Ordain? Those are my nice boots. Jingles EMF. Oh my God. All right. We're going to do this in like a really funky way. So it will take like a little bit of setup. So essentially what I'm going to do, because I'm also going to be having to like probably make my own assets, is this is going to be goofy. This is going to be really goofy. Okay. Let me do this. Walker. And we're going to have to bring back screen time. Screen time, kiddos. All right. So here's typically the... That doesn't seem right-sized, but okay. But what I'm going to do instead is we're going to do this. And we're going to make it kind of small. And then it's going to go right about there. And then we're going to display capture. Say hi to their YouTube. But we're going to swap these. We're going to swap where they... Boom. There we go. There we go. All right, so then you get to see this. This is the shitty PowerPoint I'm working on. And you'll be able to see the random nonsense I'm doing. Also, don't believe all of these slides at the bottom. These are like all templates. Literally the only thing I've fully edited is this page. I started messing with this one. I still need to get pictures that I'm going to do here. These are all default pictures. This one's not. I actually got this picture in the back. This is it's not important. It'll be important for the lecture. When are we getting food? There's cake in the fridge. My family got me a strawberry bundt cake after I ended stream 2 days ago. I've been nibbling on it. I had some right before stream. Yes, it is going to be on the test. A butt cake? A bunt. Bunt. Hold on. Hold on. Bunt cake. Google, I specifically told you to never use my fucking location, and you update and then decide, nah, location time. Location time, you gay bitch. Bunt cake. It actually looks a lot like this one. It looks a lot like this one. Same icing. I think it's cream cheese icing. Tastes kind of like cream cheese icing. Fuck that, I ain't doing tests. God damn it, Ordain. You gotta, boss man. All right, we're not gonna have Twitter open for this. Cake from Winnie the Pooh? Yes. Hold on. I am probably gonna have to turn off display occasionally, especially if I'm looking for certain products. Is it a math test? Probably not. There's probably not gonna be any math. Yeah, probably not gonna be any math. You will have to be able to count to at least 5 though. At least 5. But there was, oh, I was gonna look up a bunt pan. Here. It's called a bunt cake because it comes out of a bunt pan. Bunt. That is a very shallow bunt cake. You have failed, sir! More batter! But you can also get really cool ones. Really cool shaped bunt pans. That's a nightmare. That's a goddamn nightmare. You can also put Jell-O in them. On the subject of cake, I should do some squat. Oh, fuck. I still owe you all the squats. All right, let me change the category really quick. Co-working. Wasn't there co-working and studying? There it is. There it is. Listen, we gotta make sure we're in the right category, guys. Okay, I was just making sure that was gonna refresh. Okay, we can turn this off. I'm gonna do the squats. You'll also see I have this ready because I'm gonna need it. I'm gonna need it at one point. Were used pretty commonly for aspects and other travesties of 60s and 70s cooking. Correct, Erie. You are correct. Don't even get me started on the various monstrosities before that of Jell-O desserts. Here, let's do this. Titanic, Jell-O, jelly, Jell-O, the chartreuse jelly. We could do 1920s Jell-O. These monstrosities, this monstrosity, this monstrosity, these monstrosities. Honestly, awful. Awful in every way. And then there's whatever the fuck this is. Lime cheese salad. Hot water, cold water, teaspoon of vinegar, grated onion, half a cup mixture into 1/4 ring mold, chill until firm. Chill remaining Jell-O until slightly thickened, then fold in 1 cup of cottage cheese and 1 tablespoon mayonnaise. Blend. Pour into firm Jell-O, chill until firm, unmold. Garnish with salad greens, fill center with seafood salad, make 6 servings. Yeah, my model does not convey the look of disgust I have on my face nearly well enough. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. Yeah. Just the big, 20 more just to be safe. Motherfucker, I swear to God. I swear to God. All right. That sounds just poisonous. I agree. All right, nerds. I'm gonna go ahead and start these guys. I'm not gonna put captions. Oh, no. I'm so used to putting it on full screen. We're not actually full screening it.
Remember the first time we ever came here?
Okay.
We captured one of the craziest things on our channel.
Oh, yes. If y'all don't know, they come to Swalker Ranch like once a year. And they've done it like at least 3 years in a row.
There was a man.
There's fucking nothing there.
Well, we thought it was an actual person, but the owner said that nobody else was on the property with us.
Oh, if you say so. That totally doesn't mean people can sneak on while there's a bunch of dudes out in the field making noise.
Nobody.
So that's
drugs. All right, so we gotta do 40 squats.
On top of that, we
40
heard
squats.
the noises while it was happening, but we couldn't see
All right.
anything because it was so dark over there. It almost sounded like horse walking through all this brush.
1,
You could clearly hear it. Are you guys ready to see if we could come in contact with that same entity that we had captured on
7.
camera?
No,
And we almost found
8,
out where that woman
9,
was buried. That's true.
10,
Speculation is
11,
that she is
12,
buried down that
13,
way. There used to be a girl that was
14,
buried back here somewhere.
15,
I don't know where,
16,
but that's what the story
17,
What if we
18,
find her tonight?
We just
19,
might. We might actually
20,
finally dig her up out of the ground. We're not actually gonna do
22,
that.
I'm not gonna dig up
4,
the body, man.
5. Okay.
Over 4 years ago,
Not
we
the
captured
sneak.
something phenomenal, and Frank, the owner, had confirmed
4
to us
years
that
and
no
2
one
years so
was
far.
on the property at that time. The craziest we've ever captured in an investigation. You said your name. We wanted to go back to find out if we were alone. Close eyes. I don't even know what to do. Right now, guys.
Okay.
This land is so cursed, it's insane.
All right. I was at 25, so 26. Hi, Mara.
Welcome
27.
to another episode
28,
on our channel.
9,
Tonight, we are going to be
30,
spending 24
31,
hours here in
32,
Reno, Nevada, hunting
33,
down
35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. It's okay, Ozzy's death is now forever correlated with my birthday, and I get to take that to the grave.
I am super not excited to go right over there and
Okay.
thing again because that was really scary.
It says here that between
Okay, so we're gonna start picking her pictures real quick.
10,000 chance to find a 4-leaf clover.
Is that 4 leaves?
Nope, this is 3 leaves.
I want this one.
Did you just eat that?
good for your bones.
That could have, at one point, been a four-leaf clover.
Supposedly, it is said that there is a Native American woman that is buried somewhere on this land.
What's the radio one
That
called?
is up to us to try to find out.
Not only that,
Y'all know the
there
one
are
I'm talking
many
about,
other
right?
people's bodies that have been found washed up here along the river.
With all
On
that
the
being
bed by
said,
Tiny Meowing
this
Cow.
is
Tiny
the
Meowing
history.
Cow.
The concept of the Skinwalker is deeply rooted in the traditions
Actually, I'm
of
gonna open
various
this.
Native
Even though it's
American
Amazon, I'll
tribes,
probably have to
more
hide the
particularly
screen in a
those of
minute.
the southwestern United States. That would include the
What's the
Navajo,
radio called?
The Hopi, and even the Ute people.
Here.
A skinwalker, or Yidnaut Lushi in Navajo language, is believed to be some sort of witch that is
Hold on a
able
second.
to transform into any type of animal, human, or even a combination.
That's another Amazon
of both.
one.
According to legends, skinwalkers
Of course they're
actually
all gonna
gain
be
their
on
power
Amazon,
from
dude. Of
dark,
course they're all gonna be on
forbidden
Amazon.
practices, most commonly committing murder or some sort of heinous act in order
Spirit
to
Box. That's
acquire
it. That's
supernatural
for some
abilities.
reason I was thinking it had
Skinwalkers
like
are
an
known
acronym
for
to
mainly
it.
two things. Either they're cursed to the land, and so they stick around this area.
I'm literally
or
gonna
they're
take the most
protecting
popular appearances.
something or somebody.
The fear surrounding these skinwalkers is pervasive within Native American cultures, where they are seen as agents of malevolence who bring death, illness, and destruction. In many of these stories, skinwalkers are associated with the violation of sacred
Let me make sure I
taboo,
open this
and the
for
so-called
later.
shape-shifting ability is often portrayed as a manifestation of their wickedness, which will enable them to slip into the shadows and
UV
prey
lights
upon those
really
who
aren't
they
used that
wish
much
to
that I
harm.
don't think
The
I'm gonna
story
keep them
here
in
at
here.
Ferrari
We are
Farms
gonna
is
do.
possibly linked to that fear and mystery surrounding skinwalkers.
Amazing.
According to local lore,
Amazing.
this
Hold
area
on.
was once
I'm
a
gonna
thriving settlement, but over time, it became known for
hide
strange
this.
occurrences and eerie happenings that seemed to
We're gonna go
defy
to that
all
Amazon page, but I wanna
This whole area
find-
is actually said to be a place where the veil between the living and the supernatural is particularly thin.
Your wife said she
I want a
will not
picture
come
of
back
the
here.
She gets a
cat
little freaked out
balls.
back here. Even the guys I have working for me, the same kind of thing. They hear stuff, they not real comfortable. That's the stuff that happens at night.
There are whispers about an ancient burial site in this vicinity, an unmarked grave where the body of a young Native American girl was believed to be secretly buried. Her identity is actually shrouded in mystery, but it is said
Actually, you know
that
what?
she was
Yeah, this'll
actually
do.
connected to a tragic event, or possibly related to the land's history as a sacred site.
At one point in time, this was native land. If there is a woman who
Save
is
that.
buried here, Native American, she could have been like very special in some sort.
It's unusual to bury someone alone. When they were buried alone, it was either for
Now, there's a lot of
reason,
these
like
tools
they
that
were
I don't know the
someone
word
super
for,
important,
so-
or they were someone that did something bad and they were almost
We
like
need to
exiled in a
find-
way.
Some suggest that the burial site could be a
Oh,
key
hold on. I know
to why
one
this
thing that
land
we
is
need.
actually
The
cursed. In some accounts, the girl is described
in
as
Sonic.
the daughter of a tribal chief, someone whose death was believed
we'll
to be
put in
caused
Ghost
by a
Radio,
skinwalker,
'cause I bet
or
we'll
used
find,
as
like,
a
the
reason
eBay
for the
stuff.
curse to be placed. As
There
a
it is.
result, the spirit of the girl is said to be bound to this land, forever seeking peace but unable to find it due to this presence of a so-called skinwalker. Some even believe that the girl's restless soul has been transformed into some sort of guardian.
I want one that I could get, like, the background out of.
This entity.
Yeah, we'll use this one.
Over the years, several people have ventured into Ferrari Farms only to report strange and terrifying encounters.
Oh,
Many
it's
of those people
Avid?
speak
That's
of
fine.
hearing
Fuck it. It's the
footsteps
only one
or
that had like a
whispers
really
in the
good
wind,
solid
while
background,
others claim to
so
have
I'll
seen
just
ghostly
convert
figures
it.
wandering around throughout the area of this farm. Then there are also tales of individuals who felt as though they were being watched, followed by an unseen presence that seemed to stalk them wherever they went. These reports sometimes coincide with sightings of strange
I like this guy
animals,
calling them
which
out.
is a phenomena that
I
is
like this guy
commonly
calling them
associated
out.
with the Skinwalker
New and
legend.
exhilarating.
In some
Yeah,
accounts,
hold
these
on.
creatures are
Ava
said to have an
to
unnatural
JPEG.
intelligence or a malevolent
We'll be
stare.
fine.
Their eyes often glowing a bright orange color in the dark.
Oh, that I can't hear you. I'm too
These
busy giving my
encounters only
PC
deepen the connection between
a
the
virus.
Skinwalker lore and these strange occurrences happening here
Also,
at
hold on a
Ferrari
second. I
Farms.
just realized something.
The hauntings of Ferrari Farms, combined with the legend of the Skinwalker, are centered on the idea that the land holds not only the memories of the past, but also the spiritual forces that shape the present. Whether the entity that haunts Ferrari Farms is a Skinwalker or a manifestation of the spirit of
I
the
don't
young
usually have
girl,
anything
these stories
raunchy
passed
in my
down from
downloads, but I wanted to make
generations
sure.
point to a darker
I wanted to make
reality
sure.
that remains just
Just
out
in
of
case I
reach
had to
for
scroll
those
later.
trying to understand it. The land with its ancient burial site, along with its
What have you
secrets,
done?
is a place
What
where
the fuck have you done?
between the living and the dead
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't thread over every egg.
to find out what kind of
fucking
creature or
shitter.
entity
You shitter.
this exactly was. Over 4 years
Generic
ago,
rock
we
track?
captured
What do you
something
mean?
Phenomenal. And Frank, the owner, had confirmed to us that
do
nobody
you mean?
was on that property at that time. So essentially,
Oh,
we
their
wanted to
rock
go
track?
back to
Yeah, I
find
hear
out
it.
if we were alone and see if we could uncover any more of this mystery. But before we do jump into
is
this
this from the
episode, we
AVA?
just wanted to thank
Yes, it
each
is.
and
Okay,
every one
delete.
of you for sending
Delete.
us all that love because of the break-in. Now, I will let you guys know that we are very lucky
Oh, this
that
is
the
just after
thieves
their
did
house
not
got
take
broken
our hard
into
drives, otherwise we would
and
not
basically
have this
destroyed.
episode. This episode we did film
Okay, so we
about
have
a month
this.
ago, and we are super excited to show
Hold
you
on,
what
let's
we
go back
got.
here real
We have
quick.
been slowly gathering our stuff back together so that we
let's
can
go
continue to
DR60.
work, so this is why we're here. If you guys are not
Does
subscribed
it
to this channel,
have
please make sure to hit the subscribe button. There's about
the, like-
30% of you guys who are not subscribed to this channel. And if you guys did subscribe, I don't know. Maybe it, I don't know. Maybe Hanku. Also, if you guys do enjoy this episode, please make
Like,
sure
the Skeptical
to hit
Inquirer
the
may be
like button,
good,
because
but I
that
want to
lets us
see.
know
Oh,
if
98.
you
I thought it was the
are liking
80s.
what we've been up to. We are trying our best under a lot of stress. As for the 10 winners that we shouted out for the merch, we just wanted to apologize to you guys because as soon as we were trying to send out the emails, the robbery happened. So now that we're getting everything back together,
Okay.
we promise your guys' emails will go to our team, and then they will reach
That's
out.
fine.
There is a few
That's
winners
fine.
that have not reached out to our email
what are some of
yet,
the
so
other
if
ones?
You are one of those winners
What is the
from
red
TikTok
box,
that
the
we
black and
shouted
red
out in
box?
the last episode, not the robbery episode, the Madison Seminary episode, please reach out
we
to
should get
our
the
email with
coffin
proof that we
music
shouted
box.
you out, because we would love to give you what you deserve. If you
Yeah.
guys haven't gotten the merch yet, make sure you go to twinparanormal.com because they are almost gone. I think we did bring back the spider stuff though, because
There
a lot
better
of you
picture.
were
Maybe this
asking,
one?
and we said, you know what?
Ah, it's already a PNG.
Might
I'll
as
take
well
that.
Bring it back because Wyatt
I'll take that.
loves spiders.
Ryan, you seem a little cold for
Oh, I know it says it's a web fucking P.
Thank you, River. I do seem a little cold, don't I? Oh,
Son of a
what is
fucking
this?
bitch. All right.
Twin paranormal blankets. This is amazing. Very
This one
soft.
needs to be in PNG.
supposed to show that.
But if you guys do want us to launch these, let us know down in the comments that you want us to launch these blankets.
Lean backwards.
Backwards.
There you go. Oh my god, that's
Oh, it looks so much
Okay.
better. It says Twin Paranormal, and there's our little ghost logos all over it. Every single week, we like to shout out 3 of
Okay.
the beautiful, beautiful, sweet.
David Moore
cozy
used
little
file format
blankets.
other than WebP. I don't even understand what it is because it definitely like converts other things into it.
Drop. Here.
Is it
and
part of
here.
something
If you
else?
would like to be shouted out on next week's episode, all
and then
you
what
need
is
to do
the
go to
ghost
our
hunting-
Twin Paranormal Instagram account, follow that account, go to
Also,
the
I just
latest
realized-
post, heart that
Here.
post, and comment down below.
Here we go.
Hashtag
We're gonna make sure we get these Amazon links up because I want to see the fucking claims. I want to see the claims that the manufacturers
We love each and
make on
every
these
one of you
items.
so much, and now it is time to enjoy that we are back.
A link to a source?
And this terrifying episode. Before we jump into this episode, we have an announcement. We got new patches. Our mother made these, and they are. Can you even see them?
yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Okay,
I'm a little nervous. These
what
ones
is the
are
red box?
I like these ones. They're super gothic. It's my style, baby. I like these patches.
We'll just put in descriptors to see if we find it. This
REM
REM pod. That's it.
That
Okay.
is pretty bad.
You haven't even said anything.
Hi, welcome to your regularly scheduled interruption of our video to announce new patches that we have. These ones are all black. They're kind of shiny. They're actually super sick. Ryan has a point. Incognito. A lot of you
Yeah,
have been
we'll take this one.
requesting new patches, and there's one here, and more coming very soon.
Our mother makes them with blood, sweat, and tears.
Yes. We understand that, boys. Also, that's amazing.
Link down in this video's description.
Solve the fucking puzzle.
Are you guys ready for a
Fast like so it loads fast. Oh, gotcha.
We're on a tractor.
Whoa!
Could you imagine if
Super chuggy, but as well as transparency. Oh, instead of using animated PNG or GIFs.
Over! Quiet! Oh, he died.
Sanity pills? No.
Tractor surfing.
Okay.
Oh, you don't have any hay on you. What do you guys think?
What are some other ones?
Well, I think we're on a tractor, Ryan. Put your hands together,
Also, look at
boys,
this.
on the count of 3 on the tractor. You know what we do best before each and every investigation?
Communication and presence detection. How it really works. Creates a small electromagnetic field. Fun fact, can be easily smoothed with walkie-talkies or other remote devices.
Yeah, that was it. That's the whole
Save. Save. it's
Tonight
Coco.
we are going to be working on 3 different phases.
I'm not gonna name
Phase
it. We're just
number
gonna save
1,
that for
to find
later.
out if this entity that we had captured on camera is still here on top of the Native American woman that is said to have been buried on this land. Phase 2 is to try and find out if we could get
Okay, what
any
are some of the
closer
other
to see
tools that
where
we're
this body
missing?
is buried. And phase 3 is to see if anybody, including her, needs help out of here.
I'm on
Let's do
ranch?
this.
What do you mean you're on ranch?
To the spirits or the entities that can hear my voice. We were here almost 3 years ago, and we had captured somebody on camera. We believe that maybe it had something to do with a Native American spirit, a lore. They are called skinwalkers. We are trying to find out any information on if that is what we had captured. We also would like to speak again with the
I named
Native
that seat
American
instead of
woman,
Seer, but that's
if she
fine.
did
All right,
talk to us.
Spirit
So
Talker.
if anybody is here, we have these special devices that'll give you the ability to show us that you are here. And we also have some devices where you can use your words. I'm scared.
Me too. I just got an idea. Maybe we should try to use the blue yes/no box. We haven't used that device in a very long
And
time.
then
Ryan, come on.
Necrometer.
Come on, man.
You look awesome.
Whatever.
This device right here that I'm pulling out says a yes or a no. It gives you that simple option.
Did you just hear that?
Okay. Lore Lodge does good videos and doesn't look like 2 emo kids.
That is
Lore
where-
Lodge?
Somewhere right here is where that.
Well, no,
thing
here,
was caught on
Canadian
camera.
Pioneer. I'm gonna give you an idea of why we watch the Paranormal Twins all the time.
Can somebody hear us?
There's something moving in there. Yeah. You hear it, huh?
Like right
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Messy.
As I was saying, this device will make it nice and easy
All
for you to
right.
give us a yes
What
or a
else are we
no.
forgetting?
First thing I'd like to ask.
He's
do you
holding
remember us? Give
something.
us a yes if you do, please. Also, if you would like,
Okay,
if
hold
you
on.
can see that device over there on the path that's glowing red, if you could touch that.
Okay, that's the REM pod.
No
Let us
way.
know. Thank you. Whoa. Wow. Wow. Whoa.
Dude, immediate.
Do you
Hmm.
remember us? Have you seen us before?
I still can't tell what that blue thing is he's holding.
I
Is it
also
just a
have this
speaker?
device that allows you to use your words.
There's something moving. Right? Am I tripping?
No, I hear it too.
We hear you.
Did that cameras didn't pick that shit up?
Like I said, allows
Cameras
you
didn't
to
pick that
use your
shit up
words,
at
whether it's
all.
one word or a whole sentence.
Airplane mode, so there's no interference.
All right, take a drink,
Please
kids.
go ahead.
Take a drink,
Speak
kids.
into this device.
Absolutely.
Is this the same video or different? Which one? What do you mean?
The last
This is
thing
the
I
only video
ask
we've
is if
watched
they
today.
Remember us, or whoever it is.
So you do remember
Thought it was a
us.
joke sword fencing, actual fence.
way.
Oh.
Dude, that's 3 immediate things. The REM
What about
pod,
the ghosts that use sign
that,
language?
and that.
Hmm. What about the ghosts that don't speak
Are you
English?
protecting this land? Did you get cursed here? We saw you. We saw you watching us. We're not here
But-
to disrespect anybody. We just
Let me
would like
see
to
here.
have a conversation and find out
How many do we have
what
right
has been
now? How
going
many
on
tools
here.
do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the 3 apps.
Oh, whoa.
Is there any others we're
You're just trying
forgetting?
to talk
Anyone
to
that chat, any
entity.
other tools that chat
Doesn't wanna
remembers?
talk to us.
Why don't you want to talk to us?
Kimo
Is there
Sabe?
a reason?
Oh my god, contraptions.
What if you whistled for us?
Oh, did you?
Hmm.
I caught that. You did? I caught it. What if I whistled for you?
What is that? You have a whistle?
It's a whistle.
When did you get that?
I used it on Skinwalker Island. It is said they like.
What the fuck is
What
that?
does that mean?
Hello?
They lie.
What are you?
No, I don't know.
Wait.
Who's they?
I don't know what that means.
It is said if I blow a whistle.
Oh,
or
is
if
it?
I
Oh, it
whistle
has
in
some.
any
It has some
way,
other program
that
underneath it.
attracts a
Okay,
skinwalker.
so that's what the grid
I don't do
is.
it.
Was that one bell device? Oh, the ringing bell. The thing is, we
don't
have
feel
the
good,
music
man. I
box.
don't
Let's see.
feel good that you just
Ghost.
did that.
Again?
Oh wait, no, I have the other tab. Ghost hunting bell. Yeah, this one.
Whoa, dude. Oh, REM pod. Can you touch that again, please?
Actually, hold on. This is a really
if you
tiny
grab it
file
harder?
size. Is this one bigger? 400,
Do you
400,
understand
400. US
Yes.
Ghost Adventures.
Whoever this is that's talking to us seems like reluctant almost, you know?
I want to see if there's. I will probably look up for a video too for this if somebody's like disassembled one of these boxes.
Are you a skinwalker?
Dead Bell is what this one is. Hello and hi? What?
Guys, did you hear that whistle?
I did hear that.
Hear the whistle?
That was really
We just
clear.
heard a whistle.
That was like just a short one.
Did you just whistle back?
Hold on a second. Do y'all see this? Right here? It's hard to tell. That is a Type-C USB.
Smells like something dead. Yeah. No way. We both smelled that at the same time.
Why does this need charging?
That almost like made me.
Why does this device need charging?
I mean, possibly a dead animal, but we came over here earlier.
Yeah.
Did not smell that at all.
No, that's
it's strong.
Really gross. That was even like not even
Okay
just
then.
something dead.
Hold on, what is
on
this?
top of it. That's like really musky.
You can load. You can load. It says it's 2000 by 2000. It's unreadable.
Where are you?
Hold on. What is this? Fuck you. Shut up.
Nasty.
Superb combo of vintage methods with new edge tech. Next generation of device that pushes communication to the next level. Lots of intelligent results with the Dead Bell. Works very well and exceeds my expectation.
Did someone take your life?
Why is there a USB?
How about this? Do you remember any of us? Do you remember our names?
Kind of weird how the dead smell's gone.
Yeah.
I want to see.
literally
I want to
just
see.
right there.
Repair complete. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Introduce ourselves.
Hold on.
What's up, guys? Back again with the Dead Bell. This isn't now repaired. Lots of hot glue, as you can tell, but I'd rather all the pieces in here stay
What
together
the fuck?
than flop about inside the box. Also rerouted this wire so it's away from all the power wires. I don't want that interfering with anything. Not that it does much of a difference. Rerouted the power wire to the 5 volt. The 5 volt pin here. It was connected to the VIN pin, and it was connected.
What is
to
the
this
purpose?
socket
Hold
here,
on.
which is basically just a little buck converter. This upscales the voltage from 3.7 to 5 volts. On there, it's better than just selling them, you know, just like that. That looks absolutely horrendous in my opinion. Anyway,
I agree.
back on there, and yeah, it's now working. One thing I did notice as well, the ring is not very loud on this. I did adjust it a little bit because it wasn't ringing at all.
So it is its own frequency.
It's ringing. It's a little bit pointless. It keeps going off the whole time. That's on the maximum, and it'll just continuously ring. It doesn't matter if you put this in the middle of a field, it's going to ring. The only way I could stop it ringing by itself was to turn it right down to the minimum setting, and basically you can still set it off with a little magnet. But even on the minimum setting,
Oh,
periodically,
interesting.
it wasn't
Okay.
setting off by itself, even when it had it way out of the range of anything.
So if it's set off by something like that, an
So, yeah,
electromagnet,
in my opinion, it's a little bit too sensitive. The coding
Is it-
definitely needs to be improved, and yeah, it really needs to be looked at because the way it is just
protoplasm charging for USB-C. Oh my god.
use for evidence. And
Is it basically just using the same mechanism as fucking one of the shitty EMFs?
I had my first Dead Bell in for repair. It's a great idea.
Dead Bell in for repair.
If I was the people building this, I would just do away with that magnet sensor altogether. They're not very accurate, and they're just, you know, something magnetic has to be right up to it. It doesn't make sense to be.
It doesn't make sense to you, you saying? It doesn't make sense to me why they would have a magnet sensor on this, so that it would purposely go off if they put a magnet near it. Truly mystery. Truly mystery.
There's other ways to collect EMF data.
Plugs in my organ?
Lava. Anyway, it's now back together. I'm going to get this.
Because Ghost is magnetic or Ghost magnetic? Are you telling me Ghost are magnetic?
Please like, comment, whatever you want to do. I don't care. You know, I'm not here for the entertainment. I'm just here to show you what I'm doing.
Okay, hold on. Let's see if we search Dead Bell, what do we get? 2.0 out on the fields? Oh no. Oh no. Dead Bell debunked with Paranormal Quest. Junk? Of course it's fucking junk, dude. Okay, do we dare watch one of these whole debunkings? Wouldn't we buy a plot of land filled with this stuff for ghost hunting attractions? I mean, I do joke with Faye and Sai all the time that we're going to build a Lovecraft village in the middle of a field for no other reason than to scare the shit out of people. It's a bell with an audio and magnet detector? Yeah. Yeah. All right, hold on. Let's see. Here, we'll do this one real quick. I just want to see what they did.
Widows, Bosgulls, how are we all doing? This is a debunking video, but it's not my debunk. This debunk belongs to Paranormal
The fucking
Quest.
Infinity Gauntlet in the back with the middle finger out.
You know, sing the praises of Paranormal Quest because they're willing to learn from debunkers. I point things out and they're like, oh, we can use that. And then they invite me onto their podcast.
Randomly
They
place
get
LEDs and some leaves, get you ghost orbs.
interacting with me, just straight another
That
channel,
wouldn't quite
and
work
they're
the
like,
same.
"Nah, don't tell
Usually
us
it's
who we
really
can
it's
and
just
can't be
dust or
friends with. We can
bugs.
make our own decisions." Now they got a
Because
coffee and
cameras are
screen
not that great,
podcast
especially
that
night vision
I
cameras.
really enjoy. The
Oh,
three
that's
of
what we
them
need to put in. We need
are
night vision cameras.
absolutely incredible, very entertaining, and very honest in there. I mean, they've called out some big channels for tomfoolery, bull poop, and the like. So the video I'm going to show you, or the clip, or the part of the video I want to show you.
You know, hold on. We're gonna do
the most
this. We're gonna
terrifying place in
take
Tennessee, the Harriman Hospital. Why haven't they called this
Ghost
the Demon
Hunt,
Hospital?
night vision camera.
Everybody says there's demons in the Harrisville Hospital, except the owners who get pissed at people for saying things like that. I may be mixing things
View.
up there, but this involves
Oh, what the fuck is
a little
that?
piece of equipment called
I'm glad they brought up the thermal
Dead
camera
Bell.
here
Now,
too.
You've all seen the Dead Bell in a lot of videos recently. Bing, bing,
Um,
bing. Must be a ghost, must be a ghost, must be a ghost. Well,
Ghost through spirit
not
energy.
with
Humans
Paranormal
create
Quest.
bioenergy to remove the metal coil.
And we're like, yeah, this
It's
is
all
cat.
energy. Man just doesn't
Keeps going off, and
understand.
it's roughly
Really?
every 70 seconds. So I'm going to show that. But
That is
I researched
not the
Paranormal
same.
Quest because when I use good
Nor
Google
is there
stuff,
any
people are
evidence for
not
something
vegan,
like
I
that.
asked.
Plague.
And they were like, use whatever you want. I didn't even tell them what it was for. But they were
Energy
like, "Use
duh
whatever you want on the
exists.
channel,
Kinetic,
it's fine."
potential,
So I
heat,
explained it's about
electrical.
your Dead Bell debunk because I think it's important for paranormal teams.
But you don't get to sit here and just be like, yeah, it's ghost energy.
Paranormal Quest went a
When
step
there's
beyond
tons
that.
of
They
fucking
basically said,
tech
"Crap."
put into the
They sent
bell
it to me. They're like, "Yep,
so that it
have at
rings
it."
at different
Now,
things.
I don't know if you can hear this, but it's ticking away in there. I don't know if my mic will pick it up. But it's ticking in there, like something is winding up. It's just constantly going off. I think that this has been damaged in shipping. No, that's not Paranormal Quest's fault.
Oh,
This
it's not
was meant to be
working?
Completely free of charge. They even covered the shipping. But I think this has been knocked about a bit and something has come loose because
I mean,
can
yeah, you're
hear
not
it
really
winding
supposed to
up
shake
and bell
the
rings
bells that are on top of those
very
things.
quiet on it.
Also,
So I
MDJ, thank you for the follow. I'm
all
sorry I
the
missed
videos
that
on how
earlier.
to use this thing. This is a the old
Lack of proof doesn't mean there
turn it
isn't
off,
proof.
and then that apparently adjusts the sensitivity.
What?
But a lot of people are saying it doesn't make any difference. But the fact that I can hear this thing,
That's
something
exactly what that
winding up
means.
inside of it, kind of.
There's no proof.
Why? These things sell for $149.82.
No. What? That's fucking stupid. I thought these things were gonna be like $20. I could have swore these things were gonna be like $20 fucking dollars. 150 pounds? What is that? 175 USD? Lure Lodge? Haven't you? I mean, not just today. Didn't somebody else also mention Lure Lodge? Bait used to be believable. That's bait. Hi, Pyro. Also, I don't think I drank. Did I drink? All right, where were we?
What it basically is a little.
Here, let's do this instead.
EMF
We'll steal
device
Twin Paranormal.
in a wooden box with an old hotel bell put on the top. Now the bell
Night vision.
on Amazon. It's
Totally
EMF
misspelled that. That's fine.
style device.
Um,
It's apparently by EMF. Yet my phone doesn't trigger it.
That's a live stream of some kind, it looks like.
The product description of this says, vintage bell for ghost communication. Step back in time, embrace theory, elegance, blah, 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 blah. Bell that rings with EMF, energy, or touch. Though the dead bell appears like a classic reception bell, apparently in a wooden box. It will not let you define
Oh my god, it's Douchebaggins. Yeah, we're taking Douchebaggins.
how would an advanced electromagnetic radiation in our senses illuminates but truth to the energy around the EMF sensor, natural magnetic field.
And then we need thermal vision.
I can't test that. That's not Goldstop's fault. That's not Paranormal Quest's fault. It's just shipping. You know, this thing came
Yeah, we'll use
all the
this
way
one.
across from America.
We'll use this one.
Seems to not work at all. I mean, it says if you put on a fan or a hairdryer,
And then-
test it. Well, I've got a fan there.
The one that I want though, isn't one of these hand ones. I
And
want.
it's not going off at all. It's charged. I've charged it 2 or 3 times. And it's unfortunate because obviously I want
I
to do
want
my own debunk with it.
the iPhone camera.
But I wanted to have it in hand and be like, yep, I 100% agree
There it is.
because I've got that piece of equipment.
Oh no, that's not
Just appears
it.
that it's been
Fleur,
damaged
that's the one I
in
was
shipping.
looking for.
So let's have a look at
But-
the paranormal quest here, shall we?
Okay.
Hmm.
Whoa.
That's the do.
Joanna?
Don't be WebP. Don't be WebP. Okay.
Now, it's worth noting, they asked some questions, it didn't respond for a while, and then when they're not asking anything, bing, bing. Could it be in a delay from a ghost? No.
Joanna, if this is you, can you step back away from that for 10
Joanna,
seconds? And then when I
Joanna,
hit
are
10,
you still there?
ring it for us so
Sorry,
we can
I was thinking
confirm
Bobby
that it's you.
Mackey's.
So I'm gonna count to 10.
Not
is this
just taking
editing?
it at face value, trying to put timers on things
Tennessee.
to see if it is an intelligent response. I like it.
1,
Sorry, your ghost mail was stuck in transit.
2,
Ding.
3,
Did you add chalk?
4,
Ooh.
5,
What do you think
6,
chalk is for?
7,
Is chalk
8.
a common use?
9.
That you hit a number. Do it again.
Do not
Do it again.
Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
Hey?
That is wild.
Count to
Thank
9
you,
again. If it goes
Joanna.
off on 9, then I'll believe you. Then I'll fucking believe you.
Wow. Joanna, you're so cool.
Haven't we
I love those
seen?
kids.
We watched like Josh or somebody, I think, in the same hospital. I just recognized the name tag on the wall. I'm just naming things Phasmo. I considered doing that with like a lot of the Phasmo tools.
Are you joking right now?
But a lot of things are just kind of very specific for Phasmo. Like you can't just do a cross.
If you text EMF, it'll go off.
Voodoo dolls.
And this is Joanna's nurse's station.
UV lights are not really something. Oh, I know what we need. I know what we need.
Every time we say Joanna.
Um,
Can you ring it one more time?
Joanna.
Are you cool that we're here tonight?
It's broke.
no, I need the.
Would you rather us go?
Damn it! It's basically this, but what is it here? Ghost hunting.
Yes, if you'd like for us to leave.
This is a new device for us. We specifically bought this with this investigation in mind.
The bell.
It's called the Dead Bell.
Sure it
and
is.
An EMF
Okay, that's
detector
pictures from
triggers a
Phasmo.
hospitality bell to ring when it detects EMF.
Oh my god, do I
So
dare
it'll
just
trigger
use an
a
image from
and
Phasmo
a
for the shits and
research tool
giggles?
all in one. We can imagine the nurses' stations probably had a
For
bell
the
like
shits and
this when
giggles,
the
do we
old
dare
building
just
was
use a
first
Phasmo?
constructed, making it the perfect place to use the Dead Bell. And as we move around
No,
the
we can
corner,
use this one.
set up the camera
Wait.
in the shadow hallway.
400 by
Another
400?
piece of
Gross.
equipment catches our attention.
Rolling.
The bell, dude.
That is still absolutely crud, but hold on.
Okay, hold on.
Oh god, it's Facebook.
Is that one not working?
Alright, we'll use this one.
Joanna, is someone in this hallway?
We'll frame it differently. The reason I'm using the green dots
Let's look closer here.
from this one, whenever my house had paranormal investigators in it when I was a teenager, this was like when it was brand new and they brought like one of these. Well, actually it was more like this, but it was on a tripod and they put it in our upstairs hallway. Shade and Ryan about. Oh, I think that's what it was. I think you're right. No, that wasn't who we watched on. It was a solo guy. It was a solo kind of pudgy guy. I'm pretty sure he had the long blonde hair. Oh my god, ad break. I'm so sorry, chat.
Okay.
Nobody ding donged me. Nobody ding donged me.
She rang the bell.
Yeah, the bell.
That's fine. It's just a hangout kind of day.
Joanna, can you
What happened in
hear
your
us
house?
still?
Fucking nothing. Fucking nothing.
That music box.
But my dad, after my parents' divorce, wanted something that entertained him. So he invited paranormal investigators to come investigate our house twice. And both times, they said that our house was the most haunted place they'd ever been into. But what they didn't take into account, it was me fucking with them the whole time. I lived in that house more than 10 years. I figured out where every single goddamn rivet, divot, and fucking sound thing that I could knock on the wall that would travel down the hallway.
Or an equipment malfunction.
What are we watching? This is just debunking on the dead bell. But we pretty much know how it works now. It's literally just random dinging. So we need to do. We're done with this, so we can actually go back to not that, this one.
My name is Ryan.
Okay.
My name is Wyatt.
Can you say one of those names, please?
And I need
Death.
you.
Smells like something's dead.
Whoa.
Does it?
That's crazy.
Okay, so I need.
Are you talking about what we smell?
Can you imagine we just find a body out here?
Okay, once we need to crop you.
Can you see us?
You. Not crop, but get rid of the background.
Afterlife. What the?
Yeah. Do you guys hear that?
Okay, I think those are the only ones. I think those are the only ones.
like
Okay, so
something
let's do
Right there. What
you.
was that?
Correct.
Easy.
Correct.
What the was that, man?
No idea.
Cat balls. I think for this one we're actually gonna do
Graveyard. Whoa! Dude, my arm is starting to like my
arm
arms
hair.
are
Take a
showing
drink.
up, bro. This is weird.
That just
It's
said
a hot spot right here. Oh, murder! It said turn left. Murder! No, look at this.
No way.
This is
Are you
probably gonna
saying
break a
there's
bit.
somebody here?
correct.
You know
1
what?
year
That's not
ago.
bad.
And they're talking
That
about
is
the
not
smell of
bad.
death that we keep getting.
So
You dumped in the river.
yoink.
Backyard.
Whoa.
Does this even go left?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, dude.
Give us a sign if we come close to you, please.
Are we in the right area? Is there something over here, maybe? Can you answer in that blue device that my brother has? Could you imagine? There's so much stuff right here. What if there was someone underneath it?
Yeah.
No. Just said no.
Yeah. So where are you? Are we close?
Speak into this, please.
What?
Wait.
Wyatt! Shut up! It just said
PNG.
It just said your name!
No
Yes.
way, dude.
You asked, do you remember any of our names? We reintroduced ourselves and they said Wyatt!
I literally just
Okay.
asked if they know our names.
Weren't they picking on me the first time that
Yeah,
we were here too?
yeah.
Wait, didn't I just
That's
save
weird,
this?
dude.
Oh, it's still trying to save it as a JPEG. That's fine.
Why
I'll do it
did you
again
say
just in
Wyatt's
case.
name?
Damn it.
Is there something you remember?
Oh, it's
I wanna
done.
get
It's
skinwalker,
done.
bro.
Where does
You.
this even go? Cry.
Cry?
Good.
Are you over here? Yes or no?
I think the river's like right here.
Oh, this is a JPEG. I need to change it.
Whoa. A date. Should we try looking here?
100%. Okay.
There were multiple bodies.
At like 3 a.m. I'm 11 miles from the closest
Ashore
town.
over
Yeah,
here.
and
There's a perfect little flat spot right here.
That's a left.
is that football?
Yes or
No,
no? Should
it's
we
it's
go
a
this
cat
way?
ball.
You
It's one
see
of
where
those
I'm
light up
pointing?
cat balls.
Give us a sign, please. Can you make a noise?
You. You're
Is
good.
that you?
That was me. Look that way, right? Over the top of the bushes. I'm not even you. See where my finger is, Riv? I swear I
Okay.
just saw something cross the road right there.
What?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, guys. It just said white. You remember what he caught on his game camera?
A woman in white in a dress.
Right there. Yeah, right over the top
A
of the
woman
bushes.
in white in a
There's a
dress.
green
That
hall.
is a
Somebody
fucking
over there?
smudge of a person walking down the
Where are
road,
you?
sir.
No.
Feel a punishment? All right, hold on.
No.
That's 4. Should we go back? Back down the trail where we came from? Can you answer that, please?
Okay.
No.
This is weird.
What the hell?
Was that his own voice? Hold on. What is he holding?
I can hear the.
Epoch box. Epoch box. Sold on Amazon. Oh, that is in Chinese. Okay. Okay, what is this? We'll go to this website real quick. $240. Oh my God. Reads environmental energy and converts it into a yes or no answer, though you can also assign other closed answers, male, female, inside, outside, etc. to it as well. We'll either speak the answer aloud or you can have it silent. Then what's the point? Oh, it's the light. It has lights on it. Is that what those are? Those don't look like lights. They look like things that you put your finger on. It's going to zap you. Variety of including atmospheric electricity, charge movements, among other things. Oh my God, guys, it's a ghost. Immediately gets struck by lightning. It then converts the energy into a response, giving greater ease of communication between the investigator and the spirit. It's very no right now. I have to go. Oh my God. Clear audible responses. Yeah, because they're recorded. Toggle sound switch, which is, I guess, this thing in the middle. Yeah, it looks like it. 8 reviews, all 5 stars. Haven't loved this piece of equipment. Haven't used it yet, but have seen it in action on YouTube many times. Very excited to take it to Tasmania next month for a few investigations. Great piece, great piece. Can't wait to try it out next investigation. Love it. Just what I was looking for. Awesome. Works awesome. Hold on. Do we dare? What are multimeters? Oh, it's a pyramid. $200 fucking dollars, dude. The rim pot is 170. Fuck off with these trying to fucking take notifications. 600 for the touchscreen one. 200 for a spirit box. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna close this just so because I'm gonna go look at the Amazon pages I have open. The paranormal music box, the coffin-shaped one that I had open, is $399. Regular EMF reader, $15. This $95? PSB7 Spirit Box, latest version, ghost hunting EVPs, $95. Why? I think I know why. I'm almost certain I know why. Okay, hold on. Let me bring this back up. I moved to... Why are you selling boombox speakers? That just looks like a bootleg, like, Beat speaker. What the shit is this? Portal Micro? Takes 10 to 14 days to build. Enhance EVPs that come through a spirit box. The better sound quality makes it possible to hear EVPs that otherwise would have gone unheard or been too unclear to understand. By cutting down unwanted noise and enhancing the sound with an amplifier, brings the EVPs through louder with better quality. Oh, what? Simply plug in your spirit box into the portal's amplifier. My ass, about to just pump fucking metal through it. What is the Honeytone? Honeytone speaker. Oh my god. It's a bootleg discount fucking speaker that they've modified with an amp attached to it. They also put they took off, hold on. They took off the cool little like retro leather handle and screwed on this shitty door handle. Hi, Loot God, how are you doing? You're in the wrong business? I'm starting to think I am in the wrong business. But I guess that's what this PowerPoint is for. I suppose that's what this PowerPoint is for, in the end. Okay. We'll get to this in just a second. Do we want to add this? Do we want to add this in? I'm starting to think I'm in the wrong business. Hold on, I'm gonna go make a bit. I gotta go make a joke in the group chat. Let's pull these up real quick. Okay. Ooh, the Shoujo statement came out. Ooh. The Shoujo is shutting down. Nice. I've done everything I can to fundraise and right the ship this past few months. My fucking ass. My ass. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Here, hold on. I need to hide The display capture, because I'm gonna go show the price for like the music box. And then the mini portal. And then real quick, I'm gonna find, I want that honey tone, so Amazon link. How much is this amplifier normally? Okay, okay. Also, the amplifiers, the Honeytone amplifiers are $40. They are $40 by themselves. Hold on, let's look back at this mini portal. That is an Azure Reverb. Okay. Azure Reverb. I don't think this doesn't count as a pedal. Okay, immediately found it. How much are you? You're out of stock, but what's your cost? $45. So basically all of these parts come out to like maybe $100. Maybe $100. And instead they cost $350. This whole thing is $350, but the parts themselves, hold on. The noise? Okay, maybe it's more. Maybe it's more. Let's see. Azure, the noise. There it is. We'll go to the Azure website. Also 45. Okay, it's the same price. So that's about $145. And expertise of the Sphere World is priceless. Is it, Plague? Is it? I'm sorry, I'm late for class. Hi, Basant. Please don't give me detention. You don't get detention. You get a pop quiz. You get a pop quiz. Let's see here. Not sure. Not sure what to use for a pop quiz. Okay, let's do... Okay, if you're starting out as an average ghost hunter, Byzantine, if you're starting out as the average ghost hunter, I also owe y'all this Wheel of Punishment real quick. But I don't listen to pop? Oh my god. IRL Phasmo, let's go. God damn it, Goopy. All right, who's the one that had the Wheel of Punishment? Ginger, Ginger, you get a question. You get to ask me anything. Fuck off. And then there's this 3D printed weird pyramid thing. Closed answers. Again, just another one that's yes, no, male, female, hi, no, blah, 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 blah. Hi, Fairbanks. How are you doing? Again, environmental factors, motion, distance, and temperature changes converted to an answer to closed-ended questions. Laser motion sensors? Is that what that is? Is that the laser? Is that supposed to be the laser sensor? There's literally two of these pictures of the exact same thing. Simply turn on the flex by turning the knob clockwise. The flex will light up. Choose your sensitivity zone by turning the knob. Both lights will flash a color to indicate the sensitivity zone. Green, 1 foot. Zone 2, yellow, 2 feet. 3, 4 feet. And 4, purple is 7 feet. Configures itself. Motion and distance detector, sensitivity zone adjuster, temperature detection. Has anybody taken these apart? Videos. Trainer review. No, that's an item. Here, let's go to... Has anybody taken these apart? Listen, if I had the money, if I became a millionaire, what I would do is I would buy ghost equipment and take it apart on stream. That is what I would do. Go stop. What do you do? 600 views. Yes or no? Yeah, $40, $200. Midwest Ghost Investigators. What the shit is that? You got a bunch of LEDs. My dude, go stop. Oh no. Oh no. What do you mean the EMF reader is out? The EMF reader is a tried and true method, don't you know? Don't you know? Chat, what would you do if you were millionaires? What toggles or future outfits would you want for your current model if money wasn't an issue? We're already going to get a summer outfit in the future. That's the next plan, hopefully before the end of next summer. Really hoping. If I'm a ghost hunter that has a YouTube channel about it first, I get a therapist, talk about my childhood trauma that got me here. Second, I start taking the schizophrenia pills. No! Wait, do you start taking it or do you stop taking it? This is important. This is an important distinction. Ghost hunting guide, the science of equipment. EMF, bad. Camera, good. Okay. Here, we should probably get... You know what? Whenever we searched something earlier and we got like a crazy setup. So we'll put ghost hunting camera. And we'll do something stupid. We're going to make it so that people like want to buy expensive shit. Jesus Christ, dude. I don't like the idea. Full spectrum night vision, waterproof action GoPro. Bootleg GoPro. All right, hold on. Let's do this. Let's do... I was hoping to see if somebody would have like saved a picture of what the equipment they were using, but doesn't seem like it. Okay. Yes, we were actually just talking about that a second ago, librarian. Somebody sent it to me. Yeah, they're shutting down. Ghost equipment to your throne delivers it to you. Will you do it? Yeah, I would do it then. But like, I would feel bad if y'all were spending like, because some of these most used like equipment by some of these YouTube channels are $300, $400. And it would kind of hurt my soul a little bit to be like, yeah, I'm willing to take these apart. But that's, somebody spent $300 or $400 on that. Now, if money was no object and I had like more money than I knew what to do with, yeah, I'd buy it myself and we could just do it that way. Pay off my parents' mortgage and cars for one, give my mom a new car, help my grandma with her bills, whatever I had left, half in savings. Yes. Well, savings. Okay. Quarter in savings, quarter invested. And then the probably good chunk over my lifespan given to charity. Also, hold on. I need to take this hoodie off that I'm wearing. Okay, it's because I'm getting heated. All right. Nah, Marriott stays. It's for the content, Marion. I'm sure, but at the same time, somebody spent so much for that equipment. And then the thing is like a lot of these we could just do with like the specialty equipment. The specialty equipment that these people make and then pitch as ghost hunting equipment exclusively. I feel like the expensive thing is one, of course, scamming people. Two, it's so much money that nobody intentionally wants to break them more than likely. And the thing is, a stream like that probably wouldn't, here, let's do, we need to look up, let's do this, the YouTube camera rig. Ooh. This one. Oh, it's so small. Because I think it's someone's thumbnail. Okay, what about this one? Also small. You know what? Let's do this. We'll take that, and then we'll go back to paint. And then I need you. All right. And then let's see how much this will cover. It looks like it's a solid background, so a lot of it, but let's see how much we can cover with a paint bucket before I have to go in. Okay, come here, eraser. So I'm basically just going to use this as like the camera page because I can put it on the side. Ah, yes, the man's hairy ass arm. Also, I see like little pixels all just like off his arm. Now, am I just being picky? Abso-fucking-lutely. And I keep forgetting not to turn this video back on.
Yeah, it's right here somewhere.
What are we working on? I'm working on a presentation that I'm going to do Monday for our 12-hour stream.
Spirits? Entities?
I just heard that.
The fuck do you mean you just heard that? There wasn't anything there.
Go, 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 go. What is that? Careful, ankles.
We hear you. Somebody's walking. Something is walking.
Next to you.
Next to you.
It's probably an animal again, dude. Okay, hold on.
His name again?
We do not.
Whoa!
Yes. Yes.
We do not. Yes.
And then let me take.
Fearful.
What the hell are you doing up there?
I was trying to get a high, vantage point.
Oh.
That's a good idea, Wyatt.
Good thinking, dude.
Our genius friend. You'll be able to see a skinwalker from there.
Hell yeah. Or it'll snatch me. Oh,
I'm gonna get ripped right out of the tree.
Yeah, it's back.
It's way worse up here. Where is that?
Did you just hear that?
I did.
Somebody was just walking over here.
Native creature.
Whoa! Whoa! What? No.
Native creature.
That's crazy.
There's no coincidence right there.
Can you say skinwalker?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
Yeah.
They did it with the background, so it has like the orange glow to it.
Come back down the path. Someone just said next to you.
Dude.
I wanted just like an obnoxiously overcomplicated rig that I could use as the picture.
Dude.
But
What the was that, dude? Right near our there's so much movement.
I heard it.
Dude, it was like a branch, like huge branch just
Whoa!
Wait a minute.
Shut up.
Wait, what?
It just said slaughterhouses.
There's
slaughterhouse.
Yeah, there's one here.
There's literally a slaughterhouse on the property.
I may have an idea. Hold on.
That bunch of stuff.
Let's
that
go
we
back
were
to this.
looking at, It looks like an old.
Save it.
What?
Behind.
It looks like an old torn up building. Maybe it was another one.
What are you trying to tell
Camera.
us?
Camera.
I think we go back towards
The stuff over there, we
All
just heard a bunch of noises that way.
yeah.
We're gonna. These are all different sizes. We're gonna end up pixelating the shit out of this.
It is really strong.
Wait, I just realized something.
Please give us a clear sign.
Oh, it just doesn't change. Never mind. Never mind. All right.
Is
So
that what you heard?
Yeah.
Please give us a clear
let's do
sign.
this. I wonder if dragging them onto this works. Yoink.
Is that what you heard?
Yeah.
Okay, it does. Oh god, that looks hideous. Okay, I hate that. Never mind. Get that shit out of here.
Close eyes.
That looks so much worse
Close eyes.
on the just solid black. Oh, I can see everything that it didn't get. Oh, when I open the PNG. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, hold on.
Where?
Look
You're the
on
one that... Make a noise!
No way. Can you do it again?
This is crazy.
It's weird.
Jesus, yeah, look at that
That might have
shit.
been
That looks
different
heinous.
Where I did the first one. It sounded just like that. Look on top. That's like a whole like hill
Oh,
right
shit.
there.
Yeah, a little lifted area. You know what I just kind of thought of too? Like they've done some obvious changes back here, and like
Yeah,
all
this thing is not gonna work.
I wonder if maybe
I think there's a way that I could
back here somewhere. It's probably
clean it. I
been
just
disturbed by
don't
something
know
by
it.
now.
I was just thinking the same thing.
You know what I'm saying?
Is she still here?
Here.
Can you please answer in this device?
Let's start putting
It's
these
just a
other
yes or
things
a
in
no.
here. Basically with this, I'm gonna just like make a collage out of the corner with the PNGs that we have,
You hear that?
I hear it.
Let's like
and we'll adjust them afterwards.
We have devices all over. All you have to do is touch them or go near them.
Wait, what the
Sure,
fuck are
wanna
you?
do that?
Dude, look at this.
Why are you a JPEG?
This is right where the guy was, right?
Yeah.
It's
Huh?
just irrigation.
Yeah. I think there used to be bushes right here.
I specifically saved that cat ball as a motherfucking
How did we
PNG.
not hear that? We didn't hear water.
Guys,
It's fine.
what the was that? Did you just
Okay.
hear that? It was like
Okay.
clicking. It was like a predator?
Then we're gonna take you over here.
Dude, think about that. That thing was right here.
And then what I
tall
want to
enough
do for
be
all
over
three of
bushes.
these
Oh, 6 foot plus at
is
least, and it disappeared like that. But we heard
edit.
rustling, not water. If it was something physical standing back here,
Yeah.
they'd have had to go through the water.
We didn't even look over here at that time.
We had no idea.
Hmm.
We couldn't even get in the bushes.
Show us what direction you're in, please. We just want to get some information from you.
How can I shape the corners of this in this program?
Problem.
Could you imagine that thing, creature, whatever it was that's here right now?
$59.99 a ticket. Sell tickets to the Married Murder Basement.
Where did he go?
$99.99.
Walking away.
Yeah.
It's a once in a lifetime
Come back,
opportunity,
sir.
baby. Effects, maybe? I don't think it's gonna be effects. No, no, do not face retouch. Shadows. Definitely.
He will.
No, he
He will
will.
come back, sir. He
But-
will.
Whoa.
Okay, we're gonna wait right here.
We get some information about the
I want to
Native
round the
American
corners.
woman.
How do I round
We'd
the
like
fucking
to know where
corners?
she's buried.
Unclear.
Unclear.
Bye bye.
You don't know where she's buried?
Get a good play Reforger. Enjoy your time.
Where's that?
Green dot.
Did he come
Okay.
back?
Are you back, or is it the woman?
Does anybody know how to
Pretty sure we
do?
spoke to her the last time we came back here. Can you maybe tell us your name, please? I'm sure it's very delightful.
You trying to flirt with her?
No, Ryan. I am trying to be a gentleman.
He's a gentleman. I'm pretty sure you like Wyatt, though.
Background
He's a
remover
good
is
snack.
probably not going to be it.
Oh.
What?
I don't know if that's an
These
orb.
programs,
It looks
I
like an
remember
orb, though.
PowerPoint having a thing where I could round the corners or shape the images, but
That was right. Oh my god. Please walk over here. We're just trying to have a conversation with you. Trying to figure out what exactly is going on in these parts. Can you maybe say another name?
This is so similar to what happened last time.
Right.
Remember how they made us turn the lights out?
okay, no, that just.
Hear that?
Go away. How do I get rid of you?
Hold on. Don't move too fast. Are you over
Oh,
here?
maybe I need to make a
We just heard
grid?
something.
Devil.
Native land.
Delete. Okay.
Oh,
Devil, native
I was
land.
looking for my Fabulous Ultima yesterday, now I'm thinking of Cyberpunk Red again. Cyberpunk Red. Cyberpunk Red.
Native land, sinister.
Okay,
cracking.
Are you trying to tell us what's over there?
that was crazy.
how do I make the grid thing that they had before? Grids.
It kind of does.
It does. And why is it so warm?
Where are you?
Oh, okay, this was something else.
What the f was that?
It's like, if you want to put multiple
I just saw
pictures.
something way back there.
Where?
Here,
Whoa, whoa,
let's-
whoa, what
Oh,
are you
Jesus.
talking about?
Hold on. Look with your binocs.
Yeah.
See past the tree right there?
Yeah.
What is that?
What is it? Is it just like a cluster of bushes?
Yeah.
Dude, I swear I just saw something in there. I'm not even kidding.
Are you over there?
Okay, but what if I edit a grid?
Did you hear it?
We hear you.
Vectorizers, mockups.
Show yourself, please.
See, this is the downside of not having used a PowerPoint
Towards them just to get weird words.
program in so long.
I think what we should do
is get the drone ready.
I can't even drag it out to make the side thing bigger.
We'll try and put it up as soon as possible because we have thermal on it.
True.
So if we could, like, see any sort of heat, if there is an entity or something watching us, we should be able to see them.
There's stories of people driving down roads at like 40, 50 miles per hour, and the thing is as fast as the car, and they're like, don't look at it. Like, that happens.
Oh! No! Hello again? That's insane.
That's scary.
No!
Hi!
Can you make a noise over here?
Text? No.
Just heard you.
What was that?
That was a growl. That was a growl. I'm not even kidding.
Add
That
text,
is
magic
crazy.
edit.
What the
Oh,
that?
these are all premium
You heard that,
stuff.
right?
I did.
1800s.
That's insane.
This session would be cool. Someday we will probably play a Cyberpunk game. Whether it's Shadowrun or Cyberpunk, I don't know.
What did that?
I am not friendly.
Please help.
I am not friendly. Please help. This is weird, man. This is not right.
Adjust?
This is crazy.
We looked here. It's all shadow. It's all like colors, lighting, textures.
Okay, hold on. Let's take a few steps.
How do I change your
I'm gonna go get
shape?
The drone. But please, please, please tell me you heard that growl.
Yeah.
Super deep.
It was a growl.
River's device just said temperature. Remember, River's like, it's warmer here.
I was just saying that because I thought I peed myself.
I've never ever heard a growl like that.
Okay, before we do continue that way, let's grab the drone, just in case.
Corner rounding. Fucking.
Dude,
Nope. We were just standing there. I'm so.
Let's do.
We need to grab the drone.
Let's grab
60.
the drone now.
Okay, and then we'll just come right back here.
Yeah.
Are you still around us? You said you remember us. Found? What does that mean? Maybe found
Okay,
them.
then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna
Found
make
it,
these
found
about
us.
the same
Did we find
size.
you? Were you here the whole time?
Trespass.
That's kind of weird.
Trespass.
Native land.
That's weird.
Yeah. We don't mean to be disrespectful in any way. We truly
Okay.
are just trying to have a conversation and be as respectful as possible.
Are you okay with us being here?
What the was that?
My God. That was to the right, this way.
This way.
Is it worth trying to throw out the drone?
Can you make another noise, please?
He's here.
It is here! It!
Wait, so far we've gotten he is here, because they told us he was going to come back. He said he was back. Now it.
So.
Get the drone, get the drone, get the drone.
Okay.
Get it. Go.
Oh shit, you actually fit right in the middle there. Perfect.
We're gonna do it.
Slight
This is
angle.
happening right
Slight
now.
angle.
It's like they want us to see them. Literally.
Is that the reason?
there,
Is that why they're yelling at you?
Okay, here we go.
Poor Steph, what are we up to? We're co-working today. I'm working on a presentation thing that I need to get
On trail,
done-ish.
wait and see. It just said on trail, wait and see.
just bothersome though with this that like rotating in this program, the drone, it's actually make you like really big. Gonna make you seem important.
Careful of the trees.
See him.
Fly with caution.
Anything there?
I'm dropping down.
Fly with caution.
Whoa. Why?
Hold on, I kind of want to half this one.
You don't hear it?
Wait, where's the?
It just sounded like running. Like on this trail, like this.
Where's your rotate?
Oh, shut the Did you just hear that? Why are you back? No.
There it is.
Way.
It said on the trail, wait
I'm
and
gonna
see.
put you like that.
We're back to try and find out information.
Is that okay?
I want most of these to seem like they're like a pile.
What is
Oh, I'm glad that you are. There is.
You almost just crashed.
I hit a tree.
You hit the leaves. I saw. Okay,
it.
bring it back. Bring it back.
Oh my god, my life
Where's
just
the fucking?
flashed.
Bring it back.
Dude, I want to find this thing, man. Show yourself, please.
Drown. My device just said drown.
Now's the time to show yourself, please.
And there's another thing that we need to do.
Scared, dude. This is
edit.
insane.
And then I want to put shadows on all of these.
I'm all staring through the night vision camera because I can't see that without it. Nothing, Riv?
Dude, I can't see anything.
I only can see us.
Just give them each the little bit of pop.
And it sounds like somebody's moving around. I'm kind of shaking. Yeah.
Okay, you already have it.
Like, dude,
I didn't actually get to see. Oh, Cyberpunk red. Okay, core book, black chrome. Ooh. You think you got the data pack? Hunting himbos. Do these guys count as himbos? I still think they're twinks.
Right?
I still think they're twinks.
Find a way.
Find a way.
Very lovable twinks.
I don't know. We're the only ones on this land. That's what I'm confused about.
It just stopped.
What is that, dude? Is the Native American woman buried close by?
God damn it, let me move you!
With her, if that's okay.
Dude, look at that little waterway.
Yeah.
Is there a skinwalker here? Can you hear me? If you can you please give us a sign?
I would just land it for now.
Oh my god, I wish.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
You just said to if there's a skinwalker here, give me a sign.
Literally, when we first started asking these questions, we were getting, yes, they remember us, they can see us, you know?
Literally, and just a few minutes ago it said, why are you back?
Can I? If I hold shift, does
Still
it?
nothing, huh, Riv?
No.
No hotspots or
I
nothing?
literally have to like move it.
If we hear something again, I'll throw it up.
Find wherever this like little thing is. Actually, can I?
Tobacco! Yo! Whoa! Oh my god! We just talked about this.
I think I want to crop out the phone.
Offering.
Yes.
That's no big deal. It's no big deal. Define twink versus himbo. Small, scrawny dudes is twink. Himbo is big, muscular, and big of heart.
Quiet! Shut up. No.
Hypothetical was if the skinwalkers showed up, they were actually jacked, monster hunting badass underneath the twink decent bodies.
Why me? What did I do?
No, we've seen them without their shirts on. During I think at one point I've seen other points where they've gone like swimming.
What if it's because you knew all that
Small of
information
mind.
about the skinwalker stuff?
Maybe. Or I just
I think these guys are
because they
trying
were
their
just talking
best.
About the tobacco, which is weird because they probably heard us saying that when we were grabbing the drone. Maybe I should do the
Okay.
thing.
Three of us.
Oh, we should put something in the
Maybe you
background
should do the
because I was gonna make this next panel this location.
We should do an Estes method, but we should go completely lights out, because if you guys remember, when we turned the lights off, things
Real
started
quick,
to
let me see
happen more.
something.
Yeah, that's when it went crazy.
Yeah.
You know what else I think we
Grids.
should do? We
Is
haven't
there-
used the goggles in a very long time. Yes! Imagine getting something relevant to whatever's going on this property.
Yeah.
Maybe
Okay,
we'll
hold
actually
on.
be able to see what this thing looks like, where the spot might be, where the body is.
Exactly,
Who knows?
where she is buried, or maybe even what she looks like.
Mm-hmm.
On his night camera, he caught.
Okay,
a
creepy
image
location
of a
time,
woman
chat.
in what-
Got any ideas? Here, we can get rid of a lot of these for now.
Did you hear that?
Dude, that just gave me.
Let's just get our visual aids done. So, let's do. We're gonna do. We want this to be spooky, so obviously we got to put in spooky. We'll do spooky asylum for one of them, and we'll see what pictures we can find. Now,
I think we should do it. You know?
no.
It would just be good.
Yeah, let's
you
go.
know?
Oh god, the fucking AI generated shit, dude.
What?
Who started this camera last? It's not lined up in the right area. What is it?
What do you
Look.
mean?
So there's a little front center crease. That's how you know it's center.
It was to the REM pod.
I centered
Okay.
it on the REM pod.
It was
Use
to
this
the
for
REM
one
pod.
of them.
I centered it on the REM pod. Did we knock it by accident?
I don't think so.
Gettysburg. Oh, we could do that. We could do that. Actually, we're gonna do. I'm basically putting these in categories. So with this, it's gonna be like we'll do like spooky hospital / asylum.
Okay.
Empty fields with spooky backstories. So we could actually do
It should be right there.
Skinwalker Ranch.
Is this loose? Because it's at an angle, though.
Yeah, but it shouldn't.
That would make sense.
If it was loose, the ball would drop, and the camera would be pointed at
No,
the
because
There's a swivel point. See? Right
Yeah.
here?
No,
Can we
he has
get?
a
I
point.
want
If
like a
it was
night
loose,
view.
I guess if
I want
it
like
was at
an
an
as
angle, it would
ominous a
go
night view
slowly,
as I
but
can get.
I'm not even seeing it move right now, and it doesn't feel loose to me. That's
We
weird,
dare
unless if one of
steal
us
the
screwed
Disney
up.
the
Like, I
Disney
would've
Plus
messed everything up if I
background.
accidentally tripped over one of the legs.
Let's
Oh, not
pause
this one.
it.
Where was
change
the?
batteries. If we come back and it's crooked again,
Where's the
then
one I
maybe
just
it's
saw with
just
the
look.
house
Yeah. That weird
on
angle,
it?
so. Okay, let's do this piece off.
Abandoned subway. Ooh. Ooh.
Okay, so right now we just switched to night
Abandoned
vision.
places?
Ryan
Okay,
ran
we can
to
do
the car,
graveyard. We
he
can do
fired
graveyard
our
after this
flashlights
one.
so that just in case If we hear any noises far away, we can try to
Why
spotlight.
did I just see the one? Oh, this one. This is the one that I was like, maybe we do this one? As like empty field with abandoned buildings on it. Could be goofy. I think we're gonna do this one. I think we're gonna do this one.
We just heard some of the loudest movement through these bushes. This is
I'm just gonna mark this as field. It doesn't matter too much. And then let's do
We want to speak to you.
nighttime graveyard.
Yeah, but the IR camera can see it. Can you see this?
Yeah, do you know where you're pointing?
Yeah, right there, past the log in the bush. Right there. That way.
Ooh, we can do this one. This one even has spooky trees and stuff in the back.
Let's make the offering. Now.
We would like to make an offering to the spirits
Okay.
out here, the entity that's out
Pictor.
here, whatever you are.
Pictor.
Anyone that can hear us. We mean you no harm in any way or any disrespect. We just wanted to communicate with you and get the whole story of what had happened here. So we are going to give you this offering as a olive branch.
How
From us
can
to you.
I move
Don't eat us.
you?
An olive branch?
Yeah, it's like a peace thing.
Okay.
I want to be able to move it inside the grid, kind of.
Please come up and talk to
Can
us.
I?
Here in a minute
Here,
when we
attach
do
image.
a special method. We would really appreciate it.
Oh, darn it.
Well done.
Darn
Is
it.
that okay?
Yeah, well done.
Okay.
How do you
Let's do the
work?
Estes
How do these grid systems work?
Right now, Ryan is sitting here and he has two devices that he's wearing. One of them you can use to show him an image, whatever you would like. The other one is a radio that is sweeping backwards through different channels that you can use to speak to him.
Also,
You
how
can
can I
basically make him
change?
your voice. We are going to ask some questions, and if you could please answer those questions
This
through
spacing.
Ryan. That's how we're going to be able
I
to
don't want
hear you and
any
understand
spacing.
you.
I was killed.
Who? Is this the lady? The woman that was potentially buried here?
No. I don't think I want any rounded corners on these. I wanted the rounded corners in the apps so that they look like app logos, basically. What olive
Is it
trees are?
possible to show yourself? If you need
That's a
any
good
energy,
question.
we have these devices in our
Olives
hands.
aren't native to America, so if they're claiming that it's like Native American,
Oh, maybe.
olive trees probably
Yes,
mean
we
nothing
tried
to
our best
them.
to give you guys an offering.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Now again, this
We
is
don't mean
part
any harm in
of
any way, and we're not trying to be
like a movie thing, so
disrespectful
this
at
is like the preloaded shit.
all. We understand that this land used
So
to be
that
Native
it
American
comes with like
land,
guides, it comes with
and
like
it
other
probably
stuff.
Still is to you.
Cameras.
This is really the woman. Do you remember your name? Do you remember where?
Then we're gonna let me
The
move. Let me
device
move
just
you.
went all the way off. The REM pod. Are you over there?
Center.
Whoa! What? The device just said you are respectful.
We'll put
Oh
it there.
my
We'll put it there
God.
for now.
think
And then we
maybe you
need
can touch
the
that device
camera
down there
stuff.
Or the other one that's down the path.
So we have
on this
this.
side.
He's dangerous.
He's dangerous.
So thermal.
Native.
Night vision.
Dude.
Hi, douchebaggins.
Did you just hear that?
I did.
And do we want to put the green dots? Do we want to put the green dot on this
Is he
one?
the man that we saw the last time we were here? There was somebody watching us.
I kind of think we do. I kind of think we want to put the green dot on here.
Beast.
Now,
If he's here as well, can you
comes
show
to this,
yourself?
we don't need these extra sub ones.
Energy?
Probably.
So this is gonna be,
Blood
of course, thermal vision.
Literally just gonna say, or the offering wasn't enough.
Night vision.
The woman in the white dress.
Honestly,
Wherever
night
you
vision
are,
probably
can
should have
you
been like
show
the very
yourself
first
to this
one.
device that my brother is wearing.
Female good.
Female good.
That's
Green dots.
Image.
Image.
Did we didn't have any other pictures of cameras or anything. I don't think.
Grave in the woods.
No.
Nah, we didn't.
What?
Gotham Asylum. Do ghosts know what olive trees are? I see Finish there. I saw Finish. Yeah, this a lot of this it uses like a base, like a made-up movie. So it has like,
Maybe multiple Native Americans.
see, this is just description.
My
Is like
body
this is what
so
you can put
chilled.
here.
That is so clear.
There was an image of a
And then they just
grave,
have names
and then
of
it
just
said in front of
random
us.
people.
Is that the woman? Is that her grave that you're showing
These are just like baseline ones. I'm probably going to delete them as we go and reintegrate certain like types that I like in here.
Oh my god, dude.
How he was able to trick the Travel Channel into funding his BS Go show for so long, the douchebaggins.
Exactly.
Douchebaggins?
Image disappeared.
Okay.
I just turned around.
Next one we'll do.
Where are you?
Let me
It's
see real
lost.
quick.
It's lost.
I think we're actually going to take this director panel.
Now? You can't find
And
it?
then we're going to
Don't know where it is
use.
anymore?
Oh, I'm going to sneeze.
Stop.
Did you hear that too? Right.
Oh my goodness. All right.
If you're in there, whoa!
Oh, I just realized we didn't put
Whoa, bro,
the music box in
not
here.
funny. Dude, that's not funny.
Who's telling us that?
It just said stop, get out of here. Sufferer.
Position.
What the
To back.
Torment?
The Sufferer?
Fear?
Whoa! What a... Dude,
Okay, a little too big. Little too big.
Who is that? Is that the man that wants those things? You know, it's kind of freaky. That almost goes along with what was happening to us in the maze. Remember that? The fear feeds off the fear and everything.
Who is telling us that we should go? Is it the woman trying to protect us?
I have never seen that in my life, but a big white owl just flew above us.
Skinwalker.
Cool.
I just saw it. Literally, it's right here in one of these trees. It just went over there.
It is known for
owls.
to be able to shapeshift into an owl.
That was like
Is
Snow
it-
White. I'm not even kidding.
Is it? I thought they mostly turned into like coyotes.
They're watching.
In front of us.
I don't think they're notoriously known for turning into the wise
Besides the
owl.
woman and this man, this creature that you were telling us about. How many spirits are out here?
Because I promised Faye I would do a lecture, but Faye specifically wanted me to do an organized lecture
It's a pentagram.
and wants a PowerPoint for it. And I haven't made PowerPoints in so goddamn long.
Pentagram in the dirt? In dirt. What?
Another thing I didn't do here is I didn't give this one a shadow.
What the hell?
Effects.
I'm almost positive
Shadow.
that the owl just went into this.
Let me
hand?
check real quick.
You used your left hand for the offering. In what we read, you're supposed to use your left hand.
Right.
That's
Okay.
weird.
Dude, no way.
Be fearful.
Be fearful of the man. I'm not gonna lie to you. We kind of already are. If you can see me right now, what am I holding up?
What do you think? You think they know what a phone is?
Well, either my hand or, you know, whatever.
Exit.
An animal.
Are you talking about the owl?
The child wants help.
Okay.
Huh?
Hold
Okay, there we go. There we
What if
go.
This Native American spirit, person that was buried here, isn't an adult, but a kid.
Oh, like a young.
A little girl.
Wild. Okay, let's try this. If that's
Wild,
the
you
woman
say?
that you're
Just
talking
simply
about, the one
wild.
in the
What
white
if it's a
dress
child?
who
What if we
was
give him a
buried here?
toy?
How old were you when you died? Why the f did you get an image of a pentagram in the dirt?
I don't know. That's weird. Like, if you think about it, so many people come over here, especially for Halloween.
What if kids were just messing around and drew a pentagram in the dirt and did some weird
That's a
ritual
pretty.
stuff?
This is a pretty. More than likely, what happens. Left hand is clean in most cultures. You wipe your ass with it.
You know how many
Previously,
comments
yes.
I get about my phone being cracked? They're like, oh, another one down. Oh, another one down. Yeah.
You've got to be careful.
Oh,
You wait! Whoa! 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 Whoa!
rotten smell.
Back to back, you've got to be
Oh, whoops.
careful, rotten smell. We were smelling that earlier.
Here's another thing, dude. I read a long time ago that people have smelled skinwalkers and they smell rotten.
Dude, it's the same thing with like demons and sulfur. That
That's-
smell of death.
Are you gonna
Crazy.
say sulfur is not the smell of death, dude?
Really uncomfortable. No.
I'd like to introduce you to the morgue.
I'm getting so uncomfortable right now.
Above.
All right, and then here.
Were you looking at
Okay, we may actually use that for this one. So this is gonna be the EMF page.
Is he the one that smells like death?
EMF meter.
Two. Again, two.
Man.
I'll leave it like this for
Does he have anything to do with
now.
that
Question
pentagram in the
mark.
Or was there some kind of other ritual that happened here? Maybe it was.
God protects this place.
What the? God protects this place.
Does he? Does he now?
Pentagram. Write a pentagram in the dirt.
Edit.
That's kind of a weird thing to tell us to do right after
Shadows.
God protects
Drop
this place.
shadow.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Oh, it trinkets.
Hold on.
Hmm.
You smell it. I smell it, dude. I smell it. It smells like death.
That's freaking me out.
Okay, listen to what I just thought about. God protects this place.
Okay.
Ryan gets a image.
Guys,
why
do
are
you
we
smell that
Sulfur,
stuff
I
again?
pop and nurgle around? Oh no. Alright.
It stinks.
What else should we put in these?
Where did that come from?
I don't know.
The cameras are, I'm just like gonna leave blank
God protects
as we
this
just
place.
like describe them, just let people get them as they want. But
Just
kind
like
of for some of these tools, I'm kind of thinking of putting in the
Whatever is
price.
trying to take over this land,
Do we dare
it
put in
could
the
be
price?
something more on the evil side. If it's trying to do something, and God's protecting the land. Whoa! Oh, dude, that confirms. That confirms.
Female, I'm a child.
Do we want to put that much information, or do we just want to leave it as like EMF reader?
That this entity can't do something because God protects.
And then
the
like something super basic, like
And they want us to draw the damn symbol.
It's getting worse.
It's so bad that my throat
world's number one
Holy
what?
Somebody's standing in the woods. They have red eyes.
best paranormal tool.
No. Holy
It's beginners,
Whoa! Oh my god.
best friends.
Cool, bro.
Something goofy like that.
And there's like
This is gonna be kind of a the way I'm gonna present this is like as a goofy like I'm trying to sell you to go start ghost hunting,
That is him.
and like here's how you're gonna use this equipment to become a
It's not windy, it's
successful
not like
ghost
snow will
hunter.
just be carrying on the wind or anything. It's dead calm out here, and it just stinks.
Jesus'
like
favorite
and it
tourist spot. Did you know
disappears.
Jesus is buried in Japan?
The first time we smelled that smell was like hella far down that path.
Yeah.
Why
would it be all the
here?
way over here?
Good and evil here.
Good and evil here.
You'll know that.
Whoa! Dude, this is insane.
This is mental. Okay, thank you. There is a lot happening right now, but thank you to whoever is talking to us.
National
and
Tourism Organization of
warning us in
Japan.
a way. We're
Here's
trying our
Jesus'
best to be
grave.
careful.
We understand that this woman who was buried here was a young girl. We understand that
The
your body
legend,
might
the
be
legend
lost, but the
here,
grave is somewhere
yeah,
here.
the legend here is that after Jesus like arose and stuff,
But that's okay.
he didn't actually completely die. He left the Middle East and came all the way to Japan
We have a device
and lived here until his death. He also has a Japanese brother. They have the picture of his. They don't. But if you go to the
How did we get
location,
here? Does anybody know that?
Curse.
oh god, I got to do this the goofy way. That's the building that's near it. That is not the actual spot.
That was a clear voice.
Don't listen.
That is the clearest voice we've ever
Yeah,
heard.
it's like in here in the trees. But there's two across from each other, and Jesus apparently also had a Japanese brother,
There's no way, right?
which I thought was very funny. Let's see, is it in the
Wait a
description?
minute. It said left side. I said down the trail.
That's where it was for sure, 100%.
Run away.
According to the family of Sakura, Jesus Christ did not die on the cross in Calcutta. Instead, it was his brother Isukiri. That's it. His Japanese brother was the one that died on the cross, not real Jesus.
I don't even know what to do.
Fled via Siberia and
I asked if
Alaska.
there's any way to get rid of it, but
Huh?
we can't find the grave. I think it's been too long. They keep telling us that
That
they
doesn't
don't
make any
remember.
sense.
They're not sure where it is. We
To the
understand
Mutsu
there's some
province in
bad things here.
Tohaku,
We
Japan,
just
with a
heard
lock
you
of hair
talk.
from his mother
Can
Mary
you say
and one of
something again,
Isukiri's
out loud?
ears.
You need help?
He settled in what is now
something
Shingo
we
with a
can
Japanese
do
wife and
to
had
help
3
you?
daughters.
can't
He
believe
lived
we
as
just
rice
got
farmer,
that.
traveling and learning until he died at the age of 106.
Did you just hear that? Probably not.
I just asked her if we could
So
help.
Jesus is Hank Hill, or Hank Hill is Jesus.
Why not?
Tonight.
Tonight?
Probably not tonight.
Okay, here's what I'm thinking.
Holy.
All right.
In order, if there is a Native American curse, right?
Hmm.
Don't you think you'd have to bring someone of the Native American culture?
Okay, I don't think we
to
need
this
any of that
area?
other stuff.
Something like a shaman or something like that?
Do we want to leave it with this original, with like its original format, or do we want to move some stuff around
Can
here?
you tell us that? What are we missing that we don't have tonight?
Ungroup.
If you can't tell us what it is that we need, can you show Ryan?
It just got so quiet.
Show him an image of what
Here.
we need to help you. I can't believe it said probably not tonight. That's insane.
I'm telling you, there's something that we need. I think it could be that we need someone
Jesus' brother
of
was
the
James
culture.
the Just?
I
No,
don't
it was
know.
Isukiri. Get it right.
Please help
It was
us.
obviously Isukiri.
Little girl.
This Japanese
I don't
tourist
know if you
attraction
wanna
says
leave
so,
at
so it
all.
must be true.
Stop them.
He doesn't like
He
you.
did want to spread the good word of propane and propane accessories.
Oh, this is weird, dude. Some of the responses
All right.
we've gotten tonight are literally insane.
And they're almost
I can't believe I'm doing this. Hold on.
Devices. It's almost like they're using both of the
memories.
Weird.
Oh no, not the Boo Bear.
That left side.
It's almost like they're using all of the devices and Ryan to say full sentences. Did you notice how Ryan said it got weirdly quiet?
Yeah.
And it's almost like that smell
Alright.
is gone.
The smell is gone.
Sorry, I had to go check and see what was going on Discord and why I had
Dude kinda stopped
an
talking to us.
abundance of notifications.
One last
Why does
chance
everybody
before we
message me
take my
during
brother.
stream?
We want all of you.
I just like being messaged. I'm not actually complaining. All right. Okay. So let me look at what else we have. We need to do
It's a drum, and then I think somebody's holding sticks that have beads and feathers. Shut up! Did it
REM
not sound
pod?
like a drum earlier while I was
Lizard
trying
on
to play
Fire.
the
Thank you for
drum?
the
That
follow.
was
Welcome
so
in. How are you doing?
I think it's I don't know. To me, it looks like a ritualistic drum for Native Americans.
You said we need someone of the culture. I said like a shaman.
Let's do this one,
Exactly.
and we'll make this one the spirit box.
Don't go back there. I'm feeling weird. I have to crouch down, dude.
Shut up. Come here.
Shut up. Come here.
Come here.
What's up?
Did you hear that, River?
No.
Someone just yelled. It was like,
Yelped.
"Ah!"
Hmm?
I swear to God.
Hold
I
on.
swear to God.
What the f is
Get up.
No, to me it looks like a ritualistic drum for Native Americans.
You said we need someone of the
He's
culture.
using the
I said
ghost
like a
seer
shaman.
again.
Imagine.
He's using ghost seer.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Back there.
Don't go back there. I'm feeling weird.
So we really can't get the power of God and anime?
Shut up. Come here.
Japanese Jesus died for our sins and anime? Yes.
Did you hear that, River?
No.
Someone just yelled.
I get worried if it is the one. What are you trying to send me, MP?
I swear to God. I swear to God.
What the f is happening?
Someone
It's the
just
only time they
screamed
know
from the trees.
where you were. Can't
Right
send
when all
mail
that
if you were
was
zipping
happening.
around the
Sorry,
carnival.
I panicked right there.
Mail?
Oh, my heart is racing. I know.
I mean,
heard that.
you can send it to my office.
Yes,
I'll check it eventually.
Crazy. Not only that, Ryan, we just heard a woman's voice.
Dude, that was the scariest SS method
Okay.
we've ever done. Oh my God, I literally just heard that.
I'm done.
Same dude, the left path.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah, I was in the
Spirit
middle of
box,
doing something.
baby.
Sorry, that has to be on my audio. That was crazy loud. That sounded like someone just got shot.
To the little girl,
Oh my God, dude.
we want to try to help you in any way.
That made my stomach turn so bad, I literally feel like I'm gonna throw up.
Dude, that image. The image of the man standing in the woods with the glowing red eyes.
We need to get a
is
Native American
scary
shaman
as
meet. Pretty sure they'd fuck with you for being idiots. Probably. Probably.
Talking?
Dude,
REM pod! The REM pod! Guys, I'm gonna move away from this area.
The girl's voice again.
Oh, you put a link. That's why. You put a link. Okay, gotcha.
Using you and the devices back to back to say full sentences, dude.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, MP.
You would say something, it would come out of his and then come out of
Oh,
mine.
that's why I got shot. I was like, that was fast. I didn't even get to see what that message was. It was because
What's
links.
going on, man? This is crazy. Once again.
Okay, hold on.
we
Wait.
arrived
Oh no,
at
I
the
lost the text box.
property
No, my
with
text
no bad
box.
intentions whatsoever.
It's your land, not ours. We just came here to have a conversation with this little girl we hear is buried here. If there's anything
Y'all are the
here
ones who made up the
protecting
thing
her,
about it being a little
we
girl.
don't mean any harm.
Dude.
Be careful.
Don't fall. Don't fall. Don't fall. Ah, yes. Ah, yes. Any average name.
Everywhere, dude.
Everywhere. Will you hold this for a second?
Yeah.
Okay. How do we want to do
For
this?
having a conversation with us. Are you sweating?
yeah, dude. You not, I literally heard someone go, ah!
Spirit
like
box.
loud as
How to give a slight description of
The
what a
voices we
spirit
just heard
box
again,
is.
It's all that left pathway. And it said left side while you were in the Estes. The only thing that didn't happen was the bell didn't go off.
What do we do? Should we go that way or no?
I don't know, dude. That was, like, actually not normal. That's not... I don't understand that. And I saw a big white owl, by the way.
An owl?
It flew right over us.
You guys know what owls... Bro,
Yes.
skinwalkers can use the form of an owl.
Exactly.
No.
It was literally snow white. It was freaky. I hope it's on my camera. I was pointing at Riv and it flew up here.
Well, we also...
Well, we gotta exaggerate the
It flew up
descriptions here
there,
for this.
right?
Portal
And-
to the other side. I'm gonna capitalize some of these.
Everybody heard that, right?
Did that say, do you see me?
You
Why won't you let me move you? There we go.
What the... Dude, this is insane.
What the fuck was that voice?
He showed us the picture. They called.
Oh, I missed the commercial break. I was gonna go get a slice of cake and run to the bathroom. Fuck.
Horse again, dude.
Chad, can I go run to the bathroom and get a slice of cake?
Did that not sound? That was just as big and heavy.
I dinked? Oh, I missed the dink. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I missed the dink donk.
They would ride horses into like.
Wait, you did dink donk? Where's the dink donk? Oh, way up there.
Skinwalkers can shapeshift into different animals.
No, wait, this is in
Imagine
5
it's a
minutes.
horse.
Oh, I didn't see the emote. That's why. Go cake? Okay, I'll be back. I'm back in a minute. Do you want words on stream or do you want me to just like, here, I can do this.
Right? And the Estes was going silent. So I'm like, if you can't say how we can help you in any way, the little
Alright.
girl in the white dress.
We can't help them?
I'll be back in a second.
Hiding.
Yeah, I asked. I was like, is there anything you need? Is there any way we can help you? River's device said probably not, and then mine said tonight.
It showed a drum.
Yeah.
The device showed a drum.
And me and River were talking about, he was thinking maybe we need to get like a shaman, someone from the culture to come here. And they showed that drum to you. I literally asked her to give you an image if she couldn't say it. Dude.
Do they use drums to like do something?
Yeah, that's part of their
rituals in general.
Yeah. Every time.
Maybe that's what we need to do. We might need to make a return with somebody who has that ability. You know what I'm saying? Who has what we can't provide.
I mean, if there was anyone at all that would be down to do that, yeah.
That would honestly be amazing.
Thank you again, whoever had a conversation with us.
Look out for lights.
Look out for lights. Alien dog.
I am thoroughly freaked the out. This was 10 times worse than any other time we've ever been here.
Should we leave? We can come back with somebody who can help us. What?
We're all good.
We're all good?
Like homies.
I had a dog called bull.
You know what's even more crazy? The first time we ever came here, we got the same stuff.
We did.
Tonight, we literally got
like a perfect addition to what happened.
a perfect addition, but on top, we got more.
Dude, that scared me so bad I literally like felt like I was gonna throw up.
What scared you?
The dude.
The scream, right? Damn, I wish I heard that.
I was literally I was saying something. It has to be on somebody's audio. That was so loud. I'm still like, I'm not turning the light off because I'm fully waiting for like a man to just come walking out of here. That was so loud.
I personally don't think there's much more we can do here. If we do have to try to get someone with us to help with a ritual or anything like that, that might be it. That might be the last time. And maybe we can help someone. I don't physically think we can help anyone. Not tonight. It literally said that we can't tonight.
We couldn't do anything to help tonight, yeah. Like, we're not equipped for that.
Okay, so you know what that means. Phase 1, complete. Phase 2, somewhat complete. Phase 3, we can't complete it. We don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I mean, we have an idea. So maybe let's try to work towards that. See if we can come back down. Once again, we just wanted to say thank you.
Did you see the owl again?
Uh-uh.
What are you looking at? Something shiny, huh?
There was a light in the sky. It said, look out for lights. It.
Wait a minute, dude.
Twice, Grandpa.
That's a full grab.
Hold on, guys. I just heard like a little kid's voice in the bushes.
Stop it.
I'm not even kidding.
You are shaking.
I'm shaking because I heard a little kid's voice in the bushes.
This? Where the crunching was?
No. This way. Oh, that was so scary, dude.
Non-human.
Yeah.
Bro, what the are we doing right now?
Was that just the skinwalker mocking a voice?
I don't know.
I don't know.
That was like a human's voice. My life was taken.
The Estes started with them saying I was killed.
Whatever's going on here is something that is beyond what we've dealt with before. This feels like it's more than just a skinwalker. This might be something else. This might be either a skinwalker, an elemental, or a very, very strong entity.
Okay, I got cake.
Not good.
I got cake. You'll see two of me. Say hi to both of me.
Or it's just a cluster of things like.
Okay.
Like, we're just standing here talking, getting all this information of exactly what you just said, right? Just a few minutes ago. We hear this whole cornfield start crunching.
Okay.
That doesn't.
Do
just
ghosts know what lights are? Oh. Kind of depends on how old you're saying the ghost is.
Not gonna happen.
Should we go right here and then?
Can ghosts see if light passes through them? is free on Epic. I did. I picked it up already. I also have 7 or not. Yeah, 6. I have 6 on Steam, but actually they give me more DLC than I have on Steam on Epic for free. Hear that, chat? You'll get all the DLC and expansions for Civ 6 if you go pick it up on Epic right now.
Guys, this is not good.
Where the twinks can investigate paranormally. I don't think ghosts are a thing in Civilization.
We're not gonna run. It smells like death again, bro.
It smells like death. Y'all are surprised.
This is insane. This is.
Sorry, I'm adjusting the border thing here so not too much is covered.
Skinwalker episode we've done.
That REM pod just went off. A quick touch. Touch it again if you're really here, please.
Full grab. That's a full grab.
My brain just thought by rapid firing through all your favorite radio stations.
Let it go, please.
Here, I'm gonna change rapid firing to sweeping because that's the verbiage that it uses on its own interface. Hi Tipsy, how are you doing?
That were just coming out. We might have to go now.
There it is.
Go.
You have provoked.
Okay, let's
It
go.
said don't provoke me.
All right, guys, let's grab our. Okay, we know what we need to do when we come back, so let's grab our. Get the out of here. Okay?
What is this, guys?
Tax it.
T-A.
Tax it?
What is that?
X.
What? Tax it? The ghost is telling you to tax YouTubers. Tax YouTubers. Go, 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 go.
T-A apostrophe X-E-T.
Trying out the new Killing Floor. Floor? How's the floor?
I'm positive.
How's the floor? I downloaded it earlier today.
T-A apostrophe X-E-T.
Remember, if a ghost says not to provoke it, poke it with a stick. Oh my god, should I add a page in here that's just a stick?
Is the name of the god of
That'd be so fucking funny.
No. Seriously? We go.
Guys, something's walking.
Where do we put it?
Look at that photo.
Whoa.
Look more disgusting than ever before? Oh yeah, they fucking amped it up.
Wait,
That looks native, no?
Dude, it looks.
What the fuck is that? Wait, what was that? Come back here.
Deceased. It smells like death.
Oh, they googled that fucking image.
Caught the craziest we've ever captured in an investigation.
I saw the link at the bottom there. That's a Google image search.
Let's go. Let's grab our stuff, okay? We can end everything at the car.
This land is so cursed, it's insane.
We know, like I said, we know what we need to do when we come back. I don't feel good, man.
No,
Chad, do we need to go to Swalker Ranch at some point? Is that what we need to do?
Enough. Man, we've gotten some amazing evidence,
All right.
okay?
Let's close it out and let's go.
Yeah.
The ghost works for the IRS. Run.
To the woman, the Native American.
I don't think they can save
Whoever
you.
else is here,
I don't
we're
think they.
gonna come back.
Still going.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna come back.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna do things proper.
My power just flickered.
You have no permission
Uh-oh.
to harm us.
Oh,
No
the IRS
permission
is
to
here.
follow us.
The IRS is here.
Let's grab the stuff. Yeah.
I'm not even kidding, I want to do more research on whatever a taxit is. I've never heard that. Have you guys ever
Ooh,
heard
that was
anything
bad.
like
I heard I even heard the battery kick in, but it doesn't look like my modem turned off.
Okay, let's go.
My lights flickered. Whom the IRS sends, I'm not paying my taxes.
Said a god of violent death.
Telling they don't have permission to harm you was a good idea. Huh.
We just made it to the car. We grabbed all of our gear.
Oh
We
my god,
feel
there's
like
the other
we're
one. There's the one from 2 years ago. We'll do that one. We'll do that one
We
next.
know what to do now. We need to find somebody to come and help us do some sort of ritual to
What, are y'all gonna
close
come back in 2
whatever's
years?
happening here out.
I think we need to do more research.
I don't understand the hero thing that they do in a lot of these places where they're like, we're here to save you.
Yeah.
I
don't
say
know.
with my
Like, that is
t-shirt tucked into my
something so different.
sweatpants.
I've never heard of that in my life at all. So
Definitely gonna make a return.
Oh
We
my
definitely gonna know.
god.
You said that we can't help them right now, is what we were told.
that's what the device said.
They're here for your ghost dollars now, and my ghost dollars.
So that means
I
that
don't
we
have a
didn't
lot of real
some.
dollars. I only got so much invested in ghost dollars.
Crazy. I'm good. I think we're good. This was
Save me from my
insane,
taxes,
dude.
please, and
I'm
thank
not
you.
gonna lie, this is like definitely like I feel on edge. I feel like we need to get in the car, get everything loaded up.
Do we want to? I don't think we want to go back in time. Now that I think about it.
If you guys want us to come back, you know what to do. Let's get this video to 60,000 likes. I mean, that'll let us know that that's what you guys want. It'll also let us know that you did enjoy this episode.
Skinwalker Island. All right, yeah, we'll do Skinwalker Island. Oh, I hate this.
Never experienced anything like that in my whole entire life.
I made a grilled cheese with. Ooh. Tasted great. Hopefully my intolerance doesn't act up. Do you have a bottle of Lactaid?
There is some energy here that does not
What are you shouting at?
any sense.
What are you shouting at, little man?
See you in the morning.
Oh, I just realized why I'm looking up is because my phone's like tilted backwards.
The Native American spirit here.
Skinwalker Island's like Total Drama Island. It's Total Drama Island, but it's all monsters. Oh my god. Oh my god. Every single one of them is a monster. Every single one of them is a monster. But they're told that there's only one monster out of all of them. They're told it's an entire show. It's an entire like animated like almost like Total Drama Island game show, and they're told that they have to find who the monster is in the group. And they're told there's only one, but every single one of them is like some shape-shifting monster.
They clearly did not have a Taco Bell. This time we're actually sleeping on the island.
No
You know
Taco
what I think
Bell.
we should do? We should invest in our local Taco Bells, and we should build one right on the island.
Oh my god.
Kind of cool that would be, like a boat drive.
Oh, hold on, that reminds me.
Welcome to the last episode of Nightmare Month.
Is that right? That doesn't look like it's from.
We made friends with the ducks.
You made friends
That's just
with the
corn.
ducks.
That's just corn. God, it's been so long since I've seen this movie. Oh, they did a special thing. Demolition Man experience. Insane. Insane.
It was super hectic and scary. Not only that, but the last time we barely stayed overnight. Like literally left just as the sun was gonna come up. This time we're only
Christ.
sleeping.
Now there's only Taco Bell.
The scorpions.
The only monster is the one human on the island? No. No, I want all of them to be monsters. And so I want like all of the like the stress of them being like in a booth, having to do like the confessionals and stuff.
Walking frogs.
Let's freshen up on the history.
If you don't know what Skinwalker Island is, it is located within the expansive waters of Lake Mead. This island has garnered a reputation as a hotspot for eerie encounters and Skinwalker sightings. The location's remote setting, surrounded by deep waters and rugged terrain, creates an atmosphere ripe for legends. Visitors to the island have reported strange occurrences, including unsettling sounds, glimpses of shadowy figures, and even encounters with unusual wildlife that seem to defy explanation. These experiences often evoke the deep-seated Navajo beliefs of skinwalkers, malevolent
Do they?
beings capable of transforming into any animal.
Is it Navajo?
or people.
Are skinwalkers
They often create a
Navajo? I
sense
thought they
of
were something
unease among
else.
those who explore this area.
For those of you who don't know, a skinwalker is a creature that is capable of transforming into animal or human form in order to deceive and terrify its prey. They are often described as humanoid figures.
I guess it
with
is the same one.
different or
I guess. Question mark.
like super long
Did I?
limbs, really tight
No, I
skin that
fucking
almost
didn't.
looks
God
like
damn
they're
it.
decaying,
God
or
damn it.
When they're in animal form, it's almost as if those animals are just a little bit off, like a coyote with human-like eyes that seem to glow unusually bright in the darkness, or say a deer with unusually long legs.
Okay.
These beings are known to stalk the wilderness, which is wild because they move unnervingly fast. So when you think that you hear them to your left, within a blink of an eye, they are to your right. They are also cunning and manipulative.
That just sounds like you're hearing different animals.
Voice to try and draw you towards them.
A lot of cultures. That's what. Well, I don't know if they're exactly the same. Like, but it's not unusual for like any kind of native tribe to have like stories of shapeshifters.
Here that does not make any sense.
Especially when they typically believed in some sort of.
Staying the night.
What is going through my head right now is, as far as staying on the island goes, I'm
Hold on a
really
second.
nervous because I do not want a scorpion sneaking into my sleeping bag, which is pretty likely. Odds are one.
Pretty
in a bunch
likely.
have one.
Just have a good tint, buddy. Even Amazon Basic Tint will protect you from that shit.
Became popular, stories of these shape-shifting creatures began to surface.
Primarily an American one. I know there's versions of shapeshifters in Central and South America cultures.
Seeing shadowy figures lurking in the woods, and even glimpses of unusual animals that seem to possess a
Both of these things are things that we should not be talking about.
Stories and tales have contributed to the lake's
Walking on
mystique,
sidelines.
leading many to believe that the area
Listen, we can
is
always
also
find.
home
We can
to
always
darker
just talk about, you know,
supernatural
Jane Doe, the deer laning.
They're actually real.
Jane. Good artist, by the way.
As water levels fluctuate, more artifacts and remnants
Hold on.
of the past emerge from the depths. Over the last
No.
few years, multiple
Come here, Ethan
bodies were
Unknown.
even found
I
within this
want-
lake, and they aren't the only ones.
Oh my god.
On top of
Oh my
hundreds of
god.
reported deaths here and in the
I love this artist so much. But there's one somewhere else.
You glue them on. Why would you do that? I mean,
Why is it so quiet?
Have you never heard of gluing them on? No. Watch this.
No, I stop.
They just took off her eyelashes. That's why they're freaking out. Okay, no, there's a different one I wanted to show you. It's like a bar scene. Because they did a much better animation for it. Maybe it's pinned and I'm just not looking. I think this is just... Oh, no, this is it. This is the one. Huff. Huff. Ooh. I like, because people were getting weird in the comments. She had to specify because people are fucking stupid. But yeah, this is how I found this person. I like her stuff. I haven't seen this one though. I actually have never seen this one. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Woo. I like these. I like these. Anyway, we're not gonna get distracted. We still have stuff to do. We still have other things we need to do.
area, there seem to be just as many missing
We're only a
persons
fraction of the way
reports.
into
It is
this.
also worth noting that coincidentally,
Someone got
many of
nommed?
those
I don't know about
unexplainable
nommed.
deaths and disappearances seem to happen
I don't know
around those
about
same
nommed.
areas as the sightings of those strange creatures.
All
Not
right.
just here on Skinwalker Island, but all over the country.
Went missing.
Do I dare do the white woman's exclamation mark? No. No, we're leaving that. We're leaving that.
The island's lore
Okay.
has become part of local culture, with stories being passed down over generations. Many campers and fishermen recount tales of feeling watched or followed. They tell stories of hearing strange voices or chanting that seems to be coming from the island, and some say that they have seen tall humanoid figures darting across the shores. There have even been people who have claimed to have seen what appears to be these strange creatures shape-shifting right before their eyes.
Did you get it on camera?
Shape-shifting demonic entity that goes.
That's the guy jumping into a lake.
Skinwalker Island has attracted not only thrill seekers, but also researchers and
Don't forget to add a middle-aged woman with a horoscope and spiritual expertise into the presentation. Oh God, yes, you're right. You're correct. You're absolutely right. Hold on. Do you think? Hold on. Do you think if I find? Hold on. Here, let's do this. White woman. Psychic medium. Oh my God. Oh my God, it's perfect. Oh my God, it's perfect. Oh no. Oh, wait. What happens if we change medium to witch instead? Let's see what happens if we change it to witch. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ. No, I think we have to go. I think we have to go with fucking. This is the Long Island medium. God damn it! I was gonna say this looks like the fucking Long Island medium. Smoke and Mirrors Theater. That sounds on the nose. House of Magic. Of course, it's called Smoke and Mirrors. That's a good name. I don't care what anybody says. What the fuck? Hold on. What happens if we take out White Woman? What happens if we just look up Psychic Medium? Ghost Hunter, Psychic Medium. Hold on, do I dare? Do we, is it too mean to find a YouTuber? Oh, Jesus Christ, this dude. Oh. Oh. Interview with an ex-psychic medium. Oh, did she suddenly... The demons were multiplying? Oh, no, so she still believes. What'd you do? Close your third eye? Oh, no, I want like the goofy, like, Instagram. Oh, let's do Instagram. I hate it. I hate it, dude. What is up with these images not loading properly? Oh my god, phone readings available, chat? Do you want to get your fortune sold over the phone? That could work. Let's see. I don't think that's gonna get us, like... What the fuck is this? What the oh my god! Hello, Momo. Hi, Momo. What are you doing here? Anyway. Try middle-aged white horoscope medium? Okay. No, that's no. No. Okay, let's go back. Let's find, let's bring back psychic medium. What did I have before this? White woman, that's what it was. God, it's so fucking funny to me that they bring up the Long Island medium. It's also crazy how bad her fucking hair is. It's bad in a different way every time. That is way too big. That looks like you put a fucking dog on your head. These are the same kind of bad as the first one. I'm scared. I'm scared. The hair is a defense mechanism. Oh, come on. I wanted like a teenage looking one almost, or like mid-20s. You know the types. The ones that like show up in other YouTubers' channels that they're like, this is what you gotta do, okay? I can't stay here. The energy is bad. It's so bad. I'm not gonna be able to do this with you guys. So I'm just gonna tell you exactly what you need to do. I'm still gonna get paid, right? I'm still getting the $200. Okay, that's good. I just wanted to make sure. No, we are not putting that in there. No. That is not what you were looking for. I promise you. A blonde Elvira with longer extensions. I can kind of see that. I can kind of see that. Oh, I know. I know, Basant. It's just a bad idea. It's not going to get you anything. It's not going to get us anything that we're looking for if we use that word. Here, we'll bring these guys back up
ensures that
while we're
Skinwalker
waiting.
Island remains a captivating and legendary part of Lake Mead's history. It will forever be
Lake
haunted
Mead.
by the echoes of these dark and treacherous.
Wasn't there something else involving Lake Mead? Isn't Lake Mead drying up?
Feel more surreal than the first time we came here because now we know what we
I was gonna say, isn't Lake Mead drying up?
Corner is where we were the last time.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it's drying up.
We made it! Oh my god, this is gonna be scary.
I'm nervous now. I wasn't nervous before. Now that we're here again, I'm nervous.
I'm not sure what else to look up unless we just want to use like this one, this horrifying monstrosity.
We will not be able to get off. It's gonna be crazy.
Here, we'll save this. That's a WebP, fuck you.
That has never been done before. We're
Putting
gonna
your
put
face on here is
ourselves
not
in
worth the
immense
WebP
danger
troubles.
And stay overnight completely alone on this island.
Thank you guys.
We will see you guys in the morning.
See you in the morning.
Hopefully all three of you.
What does that mean?
Hold on, I have an idea. Put this away real quick.
Don't worry.
No river left behind.
You guys ready? 3, 2, 1.
What?
Well, dang it, I was gonna look up like the weird teenage psychic and ghost hunting group, and then I just found out that apparently there is a HBO original show called The Teenage Psychic. Who was gonna tell me this?
I'm holding the camera.
But before we
When
get
did this
done for
become a thing?
episode, if you guys are not subscribed to our channel,
Amazing.
yet you keep finding yourselves coming back, please.
Oh, it was
hit
me.
the
I was the one who shot it.
Join
You're
the
not in trouble.
family. We
I was the one that
are
shot it
on
just to
our way
delete it.
To 2 milli. That's 4. 2 milli.
Seances to the PowerPoint too. Ooh, should we?
Also, please hit the post notifications bell.
No,
so that
I feel
lets you
like
know
I feel
when
like
we do
seances are
post
like
every single
not a big
Sunday.
part of
Another
it.
thing, if
We
you do
could if we
enjoy the
wanted
episodes,
to.
Please hit the like button. That lets
I don't
us
watch
know
HBO. Neither
you
do
like
I.
what you see. Every
Neither do.
single
What
week
the
we
fuck?
like to shout out
Confessions of a
3
Teenage Psychic. What the
beautiful,
fuck is that? That's an entirely different show.
dogs.
Okay.
We ate hot dogs on the island.
And I farted.
Here, here, and here. If you would like to be shouted out in next week's episode, all you need to do is go to our Twin Paranormal Instagram account, follow that
Hold
account,
on.
go to the latest post, heart that post, and comment down below. Hashtag the boys sleepover. Slumber party, baby. We love each and every one of you so much.
Do we need to
Now
steal
it is
this lady's
time
profile
to enjoy
picture?
This crazy episode.
She's terrifying.
Now that we are here on Skinwalker
Yes.
Island, we got our fire together, got the cots out, got our hot dogs ready to go,
Say the
party
mensch.
boys ready. Weenie!
White woman psychic.
Whoa, whoa, you're putting your weenie on mine, dude.
You know what the best part is? River is a pescatarian, so we just rub
Yeah, it's
our
called
non-pescatarian juices all over
channelingwhitelight.com.
it. Dog.
Yeah, this is a vegan
Insane. Asheville, North Carolina.
Vegan anymore.
How are you boys feeling?
The last time we were here, we had a tent.
Okay.
This time, we only have cots.
And the worst part
Scary.
is now that we have nothing to protect us
Okay,
from the
so
outside
we have
world,
that. We
it
need to
feels
get to that
10
part,
times
though.
worse to just be sitting out here in the darkness.
No,
Whoa, so hold on.
Talking
Slide
to
this
the
a little
mic.
bit.
Talking to the mic.
And now,
And
since we have
then-
nothing to protect...
Okay, so let me see here. I think the next one we're gonna do is the REM pod. Yeah, the next one will be the REM pod.
That
But
tastes good.
I don't like this
Regardless
version.
of all of this, guys, it has been a long time coming. We are finally back here on the island to prove to everybody, actually, because some people have said that we're not actually on the island. Let's show where we are.
Here,
So
we'll steal
we go.
this one.
We are on an island, and this is where we are. So we're stuck.
Wait, no, we're not gonna
Yeah,
use
pretty
hers just
bad.
yet. We're doing REM pod
It's
first.
not fun, but we do this. For you.
That's not the right one. Why did I get that one? Control Z. There it is. PNG.
Ugly my dog is.
Oh my gosh. With all that
Oh my
being
god, the
said,
fucking the white outline. The no, not the white outline. Hold on. What happens if I do? Oh god, it cut out the antenna too. I just realized that.
2, 3, hot dogs for the night. They make
Oh, it's
you
premium.
alright.
Fuck you.
At least we're eating before we die.
Here, maybe we can fix it a little bit
Smells like a
with
Blink chant.
filters.
Oh my god. Oh, Wyatt.
You got
No,
way too
this is probably a bad
saucy.
idea.
Don't worry, I got more.
Let's
Radouche.
eat our weenies
Radouche.
and get into this investigation.
I didn't notice it. It's because it's so much smaller. There was the other stuff behind it.
On this island, we
Emphasis
came in
on the
contact
white.
with what we think
White.
was the spirit of a woman. And if you guys do remember, we have come here to Lake Mead.
You know what?
and
We're
have
gonna
done
leave it. We're gonna
lots
leave it
of
terrible.
episodes that
We
talk
can
about
have
how
one
many
thing that's
bodies
terrible,
were
and the thing that's
found
gonna be terrible is gonna be the
here
fucking
at
REM pod,
lake.
dude.
Now there are a lot more bodies, unfortunately, that have not been found. So maybe the
Why do you
woman that we were
insinuate that?
speaking to has something to do with either one, a body being dumped and still has not been found, or two, maybe it was an accidental death, and they still have not been able to find her body, or three, maybe we were being fooled. There are people
How do we want to
who swear
describe
up
the
and
use
down
of this one?
that there is a skinwalker on this island.
Also, when we boated up here, there's a boat that sank literally right at the end of.
You hear that? Another
Best way to detect
is
nearby
very
ghosts? Is
odd
that what we're gonna go
because
with?
Since this island is so
Hi.
No.
very difficult for any animal.
I can describe it more in detail. The
besides
question is, I'm
birds
trying to make it sound like it's a single selling line,
on this island because
but
snakes could swim. I can't see a snake swimming all the way to this island, you know?
Yeah, that's pretty far. That would
you'd
a
be
stretch.
fucking surprised, my dude. You'd be real fucking surprised to see how far a fucking snake will swim. Also, hi,
Where I'm
Super Will.
trying to get at is
So
we keep
that's
hearing
what that
all these
button
very
does,
odd
yeah?
noises.
You
almost
missed.
like something big is walking around.
It's trippy because, like, clap your foot, Ryan. Hear how it almost sounds like hollow?
Yeah.
And hear it echo like someone else is walking around us.
You know what I noticed as well? There's no animal footprints whatsoever.
That's what's weird.
So why are people
Hold on.
seeing what they are calling coyotes running around on the island? Like,
Also, why is there EMF going off here? That's a huge mystery, dude. This island
Is it a
such
huge mystery?
mystery to where
Is it?
that is why
Oh,
we're back.
wait, I just
Also,
realized this is
everybody
one of the
wanted us to go
pictures
back.
whenever I looked
So now
up
we're
like
here.
night
We're
vision
actually staying the
camera
night.
for them. This was where they were.
I am so terrified because not only that, we're
The
not
Spirit Wings told me.
protected by,
Oh.
like, a tent. And even though a tent wouldn't really protect
I don't know. I
us
don't think
from
this
anything,
counts.
It still is like you have.
Did you hear that?
no way.
That was a branch snapping. Wait, that was beeping? That was the millimeter.
Who is this?
Oh, we'll do something that's like overly pitchy. So we'll do like the surefire.
The whole week leading up
Surefire
to this
way
day, I've been
to
having so
know.
much anxiety. You guys remember I was like, look at my hands.
On the way here.
Yeah, they were dripping because I had so much anxiety.
Dude, what is going on?
Now again, during
Just
this, I'm
that
gonna
water
like
here.
explain like what it does, what like it typically reads, and like why it'll go off and stuff.
That's a
The goal
full
is
grab.
essentially if you wanted to turn somebody into a well-known ghost hunter.
I think for the last episode.
If you
of
wanted to make a
Paramount,
good
since we're
ghost
on this
hunter that's
island,
convincing, these are the things you
we are
need to
going
do.
all out.
It's
right?
gonna sound like a
We
paid
need
seminar.
to
Oh goodness.
legit go all
Gonna make
out.
it sound like a paid seminar. You're behind closed doors. We can tell the secrets of the
Already?
trade now.
Here to find out if there
Which means
is
greater chance of
a
monster sightings.
skinwalker,
Oh.
right?
Exactly.
This is our last hope, our last chance to.
It
try
is
and
funny that
find
we're doing
out
the page on the
if
REM pod
this
while we're
entity does
doing the thing on the REM
exist.
pod.
Let me gear up. Bear meets grill.
You know what? I'm kind of fine with
what
this
it
right
is?
now. I'm fine with this right now. All
what it
right.
is?
Next one.
To the spirits or entities here.
We're just doing this pretty quick. Next one, I think we'll do music box.
With a couple of you, and we are back to find out more information. We want to know why you are here.
Is that
we
what
want
we
to
wanna
know if
do?
you're stuck on this island. If you are, was that whistling? That was full-blown whistling.
Okay.
Weird, man.
That was 100% up the hill to the left.
What's crazy is we are so far away from Lake Mead land that we can't hear anybody.
No
And
way.
then
Yeah, really
Lake Mead lands.
Kinda here is when a boat passes this channel right here.
Yeah.
That we're in.
Why aren't you
That's
telling me
about
if this
it.
is a PNG or
Remember that one
not?
time we were here and somebody, I think there were people looking for more bodies because they were surfacing within like a week.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't seen that since.
No.
As I was saying, if you
Lake
can hear
Mead
my
bodies?
voice,
Are they sure they're
there's
not
a
mixing up
Native
the ones that they
American
found in like a
entity
barrel?
that is said
Hold
to
on.
have been seen here on this island. So again, if you know any information about this,
Okay, yeah, this
entity,
is the one
we
that's
want to
like
see them.
outside
We
of
want to speak to
Vegas
them. We are calling
that
out
like
to
people
them.
think are probably just old victims of the mob
Me too.
that have just been here for decades. Cause like, here's the barrel.
Are you here?
I don't know if my shake is ever gonna go away.
But yeah.
Not
Like,
when
I'm
you're
just-
on this island.
I just can't stop shaking.
Oh, cholera? Oh my god. Cholera?
What?
That was freaky. Right before you started talking from the same direction, we heard the whistle, you know? So there's like big rocks. This whole thing was underwater, so it's all like river rocks and everything. You know when you step in it and they all kind of slide?
Yeah.
It goes whoosh.
Yeah.
That's what
Here,
I
we're
heard.
gonna do
What if they're on
this.
their
We're gonna
way?
swap sides here.
Can you give us a sign if you are close by? Whistle again, please.
Do you have a death whistle,
Doesn't get
dude?
any less terrifying.
If there is anybody else around
Can you
us,
get the police showing
I
up
don't know
here?
if you remember any of these devices, but we have these objects where you can use your words, whether it's one word or a whole sentence. So if you
How do we
can,
want to
if you'd
describe
like to
this
talk to
one?
us,
It's
please
literally just a motion sensor.
with us.
It's hard to describe these from the point of view of a
Like
ghost
something
hunter.
is watching us.
It feels weird.
Yeah.
Again, that's like another reason why we came back to
Um,
the island, because even part of the story is that there's like an
Here.
energy about this place.
Questions? What? What do you mean questions? Are you talking about... Shut up. Bill! The bill! Oh. Is the Native American spirit here? The entity?
What I was gonna say is another reason
Yeah,
we
we'll go
came
with
back
that.
here is because part
And
of
then
the
I
story
don't.
is
I
that
think I
this
forgot to
whole
do.
island,
Yeah, I forgot to do the
lake in
shadows
general,
on this
just has
one.
this energy about it.
28 years!
Consistency is key, and I make it hard for myself apparently on purpose.
Imagine if that was someone who was 28 years old. They died in a violent manner.
Oh, that kind of makes sense.
Either that.
Fun fact: the 69 I keep sliding it to was actually a coincidence when I was making the like title.
Maybe they think that's how
And when I went back to look, I realized they'd made it 69, and I was like, "Well, that's it. Every single one of them is gonna be offset 69."
Like leave. Don't do it.
I forgot to change
To give
the
you guys
color.
some context on this device, it's basically what we use on our phones. It's an ovilus. What it does is it gives these spirits the ability. It's an ovilus.
A what? Ghost hunting. Odilus? Ovilus. Okay, hold on. Genuinely, what is the logic behind the Ovilus? Detects changes in atmosphere, presumably at EM fields of temperature and usual aspects. Okay, so it has the exact same claims as phone apps. Oh, here's the... Oh... This is the, like, fucking, like, $500 one that I saw on that website. No, Ovilus. Ovilus. Etsy, $600 on Etsy. That's what it just said in that preview, but... Hey, Spirit Talker Lite, still $200 fucking dollars. And then that's just a re-rigged version of the fucking Portal mini thing. Good fucking lord. 500 reviews. You know what? This is it. This is the perfect REM pod for me. Love it, and so do my children spirits. Thank you, and please keep making the whimsical pods. Gonna go jump off a roof. Hate it here. Hate it here. Oh no, this was a mistake. This was a mistake. God, all these people with like 3D spirit chat. Spirit chat. These are all 3D printed fucking boxes. Etsy was a mistake, dude. Etsy was a mistake. I can make an obelisk for $20. It'll be a rock. It's gonna be rock, baby. All right. Real quick, let's do these. And then I'll actually remember to start the video again. I'm sorry for the awkward silence. All right.
What it does is it gives these spirits the ability.
Someone 3D print one of those and make it Marin themed for the shop. No, make it the
Keep talking to
what
us,
was it?
please.
The
This whole damn place has this crazy energy to it, right?
Yeah.
Of all the years that we've been coming here, whether it's way over there on the lake or here on the island,
It's not at
there's
all what I
definitely
wanted.
Something weird, you know. There is no
Make it
reason
this.
at all that a
Make it
random
the
island
make it the
that used to be
Crooked Man
underwater
lamp.
100 years ago is freaky. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I want the Crooked Man lamp.
That is true. The first time we actually came
Look
to
at this
Lake
dude.
Mead,
He was the
we
best
were
character
so
in this
on
movie, and he only got like a grand total of like 5 seconds screen
Well,
time.
not even just that. We were surrounded by coyotes. Then we were followed in a SUV. And on top of that, got told that there was a body in a barrel who was shot.
Yeah.
Which
Yes, that's
ended
the
up
one I
being
just
true.
pulled up.
Yeah.
And he was probably a mob victim.
Tragic.
Tragic.
Make it more like a haunted carousel. Ooh.
Haunting.
I don't think I changed. Yeah, I didn't change the color.
Are you
It's like, why does it
walking
look like
over
it's popping way too much? Okay.
Haunting too.
Yeah.
What? That's what I'm saying. It's so strange.
If there is someone on this island, do you know about the Skinwalker?
Okay. Ding!
My God.
Do we need to do the dead bell? I just realized we never grabbed a picture for the dead bell.
that again, please.
Question.
Oh, this device said questions. It said
Right?
questions. That said question.
I'm gonna go ping, bing. All right.
man.
Let me see. Did we grab a picture of the dead bell?
Oh, yeah. This is odd. I don't know if that's just a coincidence.
Okay, so we have the 3 big
Questions and
ones.
Question.
Hello?
Where's
Tap
Where's
it
the
twice really
Panasonic
fast if
PNG
you're
I
there.
saved?
That was twice, pretty fast.
Wet.
Whoa, guys. My device just said wet.
Wet?
Maybe the
Wait a minute. Weren't we doing
metadata got
something
fucked
about
up
the
and it's
water
further
last time
down.
earlier?
Not even just that, I just got done saying...
Bell.
I just got done saying
Oh,
that if someone
no.
was 28 years old, maybe they passed away, maybe they drowned.
Oh yeah, violent.
Shut up.
Hold on, go double check. Let me see if it maybe it got saved in the wrong place.
I think you're right.
I'm gonna find out that I saved it under my Marin art folder.
Okay, sorry. What if it's the woman that we were talking to the last time?
Oh.
Nope.
Maybe. I forget her name.
Did it not actually save?
Do you remember us?
Fan art section.
Can you give us your name again?
Trick. Oh, Trick.
P P P P P P P
You
P
literally
P
just got
P.
done saying, or 3.
Nope.
It could have been something tricking.
Where did it get saved? What the
That's crazy.
fuck?
That's creepy.
Was it not a woman the whole time we were talking the last time? Use your energy. Holy sh...
Here. What happens if I put in?
That's a full grab.
That was full grab.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have no idea where it saved it. All right, come here.
To the right. Is there someone watching us? Why is this so
Listen, at least this
creepy,
one was
guys?
easy. This one I don't think had any
I'm starting
problems.
to hear it everywhere again.
Aside from that top corner, but hold on, let me see. What has that look? Oh no, that's fine.
Who
Okay.
are you? Relax. Tense.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, what the? That is insane.
There we go.
You want us to relax?
Yeah, because we're super tense. What if this? I mean, oh, dude, this is weird.
This is making me like sweat. I gotta take
Yeah,
this
take
off.
your jacket.
Okay.
It's a little hard for us to relax right now.
And then do we want to do?
Nice.
Mother Nature's coat rack.
Is there anywhere in
Are there
this
conventions for
area
ghost hunting equipment, or am I
like us to
misinformed? There
go?
definitely is. There
We're going to be
definitely is.
spending all night here.
Okay. Do we want to do the Panasonic one next, or?
There, dude.
Do you feel that too? I just had
Use
like all of the
box.
hairs on the back of my neck go up.
Right.
Right. Go right.
I don't know. I just said there's something lurking out there.
Also, before we started recording, we heard coyotes.
I'm sorry. The psychic woman's profile picture is in the folder that I'm looking at, and I keep fucking snickering at the page that we're gonna make because I just imagine it's just gonna say like white woman. Get yourself a white woman.
And again, again, bringing up the tent thing.
Okay.
It's not like we're safe in the tent.
Okay.
but it's
I think
like that
I think the
sense
next
of
one's gonna be
Imagine waking up. My
Alright.
land, spiritual. My land.
Come here.
That's weird.
Wow, that is insane.
Okay, what is this one? This is the
That is
Panasonic
weird. No, that's all I was saying. It's like that sense of security when you're in the tent, you can't see outside.
RRDD
Now we don't have that.
60.
I was gonna say, imagine waking up to your fingers like being licked,
Ew.
and it's like you wake up and you look to your right, and Wyatt's just like licking your fingers. Whoa!
Gross.
Did I say Wyatt? I meant a coyote.
Also, I just realized I did not finish
Are you
spelling
over there?
Panasonic.
Is that what you meant by right?
Continue.
Continue.
Do
you want us to go over there? We can.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Helpful.
Let's do it this way. It's a little too
If you
big.
want us over there, can you touch
88
one
was
of
the
those two red
size.
lights? The ones on the little beds?
You gotta go smaller.
Near
There we go.
death.
Near death.
Us?
Wait.
Are you near death? Are you dying? Who's dying? Which one of you has like cancer or something?
Continue helpful.
That's not allowed. You gotta keep being like one of the best up and coming ghost hunters on the web. Please, I don't like anybody else. I think all of the others are kind of dookie.
Closer.
If we are getting
White
close
woman.
to being right about anything,
A bonus
please
if
let
she
us
says
know.
she's psychic.
The only way we will find out is if you give us that information. A simple yes or a no, or
Oh,
maybe
let me
you
get the
could just
picture.
tell us. What if we are camping above where the body is?
It is weird how
Oh geez, who knows? Do you try to stress out your buddies there?
Is there anybody buried on this island? Him. It just said him. Who's him?
Did you just hear that? I did.
Yeah.
That was another branch.
Who are we talking about? A person or an entity? Break. Ran.
Dude, I just heard a branch break.
Ran.
What's that?
Now remember, information about skinwalkers. They can move from point A to point B in apparently seconds.
And intentionally putting that in like it's the world's shittiest.
Weird that it said him too. That's almost the same thing that was happening. with
1998 digital recorder. Panasonic RRDD60. The perfect recorder for every novice's wallet.
Right here.
For a minute $300 on any given eBay ad, you too could have the perfect Japanese digital recorder.
Friendly.
Don't worry about the reviews being panned as one of the worst digital recorders of all time. Did you watch Powerpuff Girls too? I like Powerpuff Girls, yeah. Actually, I dragged my mom as a kid to go see the movie when it was in theaters. Enjoy other tipsing.
That comes out right after.
As an Pan Am Sonic, yeah, Pan Am Sonic, crashing that shit into a fucking building.
We need to be very,
All right.
very careful.
Let me make sure I do Turkish.
Skinwalkers are known.
Are they?
To trick people, right?
Are they?
Lures them towards them.
Every time I hear them say blah 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 is known, I'm like, all right, you're making something up. Watch chat, they're making something up. Watch them go in slow motion.
Ow. You okay? Yep. It's a prickly bush. Where are you?
I think they're here, dude.
Why can't we see you? What if they're not?
Because they're rats.
What if they're
Rats,
close and
rats.
they
We
have
are the
that much
rats.
Power.
That's what I'm saying. It's the vibe, the energy. You can 100% feel it. It's everywhere.
It's because that defect. Yeah, it's the defect that allows them to hear spirits. People just didn't understand. They wanted to hear themselves. They didn't want to hear their loved ones speaking directly to them, obviously. Womp womp.
Anybody else getting it?
I'm definitely getting a weird vibe, yeah.
Yes.
A weird vibe. It's almost like somebody was trying.
Correct, boss. Yes, boss. Whatever you say, boss.
Going off like crazy. Why is it not going
Did I?
crazy anymore?
This is another shadow?
Doing weird. I'm gonna move the REM pod right here. Let's move down there. Get a little bit more information. See what we can get. If there is
I can't see the shadow.
on this island, I don't know how we are going to find this body. No idea.
And you're not. You're not going to find the body.
We're trying to make
Okay.
guesses here. Give us a sign, please.
Okay, so we have the Panasonic. Hold on, I just realized something.
Is it just me or is it everything keeps sounding like
Okay, we need to move this one.
That was footsteps.
Now this is definitely oversimplified for what I would usually do, but I'm trying not to stress myself out over
See it. Point that way, Riff.
too much of
You
this.
can barely see it. There's a ridge above us. That's where.
If that makes sense.
Are you up there?
It is not I who will be defeated, it is you who will be defeated. When you have been defeated, it'll be you who will have lost. You are part of my plan, so all of your plans are my plans.
who's moving around us right now? Make that noise again.
Contact.
And then here, we'll do this. Duplicate page.
Skinwalker! Trouble.
Move you over here.
Trouble. Taste.
God damn it.
Protection.
So theoretically, that should still be
Right
a
after he screams the S word, you're not supposed to
grid
scream?
question mark. And then now we can do.
Weird.
Are we in danger?
What do we have left?
Are you not hearing?
Ooh. Okay. Do we do the apps first?
Dude, go.
Do we do the apps first? Actually, we don't need this panel. We don't need this panel. Because I was saving a different one. I was saving this one. We're gonna go Verbentine.
You ready?
Mayhaps.
That sounded like somebody was walking up towards us from the water.
Yeah, literally like that little bay right there, like someone was swimming and just stood up and started walking out of the water.
I don't see anything.
That would be called a fish jumping.
Use your energy.
Mojo just yells in the PPG was all done in one breath. Yes, I've seen the video of it.
On edge.
Okay. We need all of our app things.
Nothing.
Necrometer, Spirit Talker, Ghost Seer.
What did we literally just hear? It's done now.
We'll do Seer first.
Grandpa.
Get. It just said get. What do you mean get? You talking about get us? Is that what you want to do?
Wait, what the is that?
What are you talking about?
Like something hot. You see us, and then right up.
16?
Go north. You see that? Yeah. I don't know what that is. What? It almost looks like someone crouched.
Where?
Like right below that bush. It's like the hottest thing there. Should I go towards it?
Yeah.
It was this way?
Yeah.
You over there?
Corner rounding 60.
We literally heard something in the water. I have to land. I have to land right now. My battery's dying. Trap! Trap! It just said trap! Shut up. Shut up.
The device just said trap. Land right here. Whatever we heard,
I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay.
Something happened. We heard water.
Wait, guys.
What the was that?
I'm still concerned about the other one that you saw in the bushes over here.
Did you go towards that one?
I tried.
There should literally be
nothing on this island but us.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that moving?
It's the water.
Ghost Seer. Ghoster. Ghost Seer. This is the Necrometer. And then, of course, obviously, Spirit Talker.
It doesn't sound like waves.
Now, I want to double check the Ghost Seer app. All right, we got 3 minutes until the ad break.
Just in case.
Website. Ghost Tomb.
I think what we should do. Shut up.
That
All right.
whole time.
AI-powered paranormal tool.
This is getting really weird.
I think what we should do.
Totally.
Is we should change things up. Go night vision. Lights out. Let's go back to that area over there where the willow area
Okay.
is. Because you said in that general area is where you caught that heat signature, right? Let's go over there. See what we can get.
You know how scary that is?
If you look better dressed as a witch hunter with all the tight leather, or a mercenary with the big poofy Lanceret outfit? Ooh, good question.
Somewhere else. Don't know what to do. Then.
Witch hunter. Witch hunter. I like the witch hunter more with all the buckles.
Yeah.
With all the buckles and the cool badass leather jackets. The big hats.
Let's go lights out.
Before we jump back into this
He stole my Doritos!
New merch!
What the fuck? Y'all are doing this now?
Halloween merch. Give her a spin.
Shut up.
The reason why we are here is because
Wait, 30 minutes in and they immediately go from stress to yelling about merch.
Signature from our
We need goth and gothic. Okay, AI powered. How do we want to describe this?
I
No.
mean, we don't know. It could be anything.
I'm just trying to find out what would that
We'll do
Everything
AI
else I
powered
know
ghost
besides
image
us.
generator.
Couldn't be a bunny rabbit. Couldn't be, you know what I'm saying? It can't
Necrometer
be any
is.
animal. When I say that, like I wish we could bring it to people's
Makari, welcome
attention that
in. How was
this
your stream?
island, it's no
Did you have a good time? What were you doing?
cannot swim to
Monster
this
Hunter Wilds. What part were you doing? I have not played since the
At least away from.
update when there was the hard version of the Jism Dragon.
Yeah.
I was never able to beat him, and I uninstalled it a while back, and I forgot to reinstall it when Laggy Acris came back.
You guys ready?
Welcome in, Raiders! Hold on a second. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Mara. I'm the Ring Lady of the Dark Carnival. I typically play games that are dark, spooky, terrifying, or just whatever my little inclinations like to get into. Today we're kind of hanging out. I'm working on a PowerPoint I have not done a PowerPoint since fucking college. The reason I am doing this. Why does this say detecting face? Why does this say detecting face up here? The webcam's not on. I don't know why it says detecting face. Jism Dragon? Yes, the Jism Dragon. The Zoashia. That's it. First time playing for a few months. Still good, though. Hell yeah, it is. But welcome in, guys. We're listening to, I almost said Twink Paranormal. It is Paranormal Twins. Just as like kind of a background noise while we work on this. Monday, we have a 12-hour stream, and I promised a friend I would do a lecture on a certain topic. So I'm doing a style of like introducing people to ghost hunting. But because I don't believe in any of it, I'm basically going to like explain why things work. I'm basically doing this from the point of view as if you paid for like an exclusive seminar on how to be a ghost hunter. So it's like, it's going to be like me telling you like equipment, what they're supposed to do, and then like what they actually do kind of stuff. The lights Wavern. I want to do a ghost hunt. I'm a skeptic, so I'd love to go on one of those just to convince myself. That doesn't sound like the right mentality to go into ghost hunting with. More wilds. Had to be like Chris Bors? Chris Bors. Chris Bors. Creepypasta Museum. Ghost behaviorist. I think I had an aneurysm. Hold on a second. Boris. I say convince more satiated my curiosity. I would do it for the fun of things. I'm just going to cool places. And then like the ghost hunting, it would just be on top. Like I've been in ghost hunts as in I had people come to my house and do paranormal investigations there, and I fucked with them for a while. Because I was a dirty little teenager and you do dirty little teenager things. I've done urbex on my own. Go to bed, Australian. There's a 15-hour difference. Go to Eep. Go Eep. Ask the ghost about the pickle meme. Wait, which pickle meme? Ah, shit. All right, guys, we got an ad break. I'm gonna take a brief break. I need to refill my water. I just picked it up to double check. So we'll be back in just a minute. Hi, there's double me's. Anyway, I'm gonna go over here. Have fun. I'm gonna give y'all... Oh, did I set up words on stream? Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. Also, hold on. I just realized. Don't look at this chat. Don't look at the Steam library. Don't look. It's fine. It's fine. One must eat. How many pickles can you shove in your bum? 72, 725. Baby, lock them doors and turn the lights down low. Oh, I was gonna say, where's my fucking fishing game? All right, have fun with fishing game, chat. I'm gonna give you all the music too. All right, don't kill each other. Okie dokie. All right, what the hell are y'all doing? What are y'all doing in here? Hello? All right, Bakari, are you still here? I totally understand if you've already scattered to go get food. Because I was just gonna say you should probably go get food. You've probably been going a while. Meowdy, what'd I miss? Who died? Are we good? Nobody's dead? All right. We was fishing. Did you have fun fishing? We was fishing. I was over on the bench.
If you're the one that
Oh
we
goodness.
saw
All right, back to
through
where
our
we were.
device, the device that you may have seen flying in the air. We want to know if you're in these willows. This would be a good spot for them to hide.
Oh,
right?
100%.
We've been hearing.
Oh, I clicked the wrong one and changed the wrong one. Son of a bitch. All right. That means I now have to slide you over here.
Well, we did keep hearing branches now.
I only just realized that I was changing this duplicate one. That's fine. That's not too big of a deal.
Limbs or twigs?
Or break dead.
Apps. Okay, necrometer is here. Actually, I'm going to do it based off of their necrometer.
That could be two different things, Wyatt. Behind, general area, and then also something
Google
about
Play.
water. There's multiple entities, multiple spirits.
What do you mean? We're gonna walk through these
To
willows.
detect and communicate with spirits.
Hopefully we
Okay.
don't die. Right, boys?
How are we even gonna get in here?
I don't know. Oh, for Pete's sake. These are the spiky things that we dealt with earlier. Why don't we sing a song together?
Whoa.
Oh, stuck here.
Whoa, wait. Hold on.
We are
Behind water.
stuck here.
They're stuck on the island.
This
But
is,
we
this
are
is
too.
updated, but
They're either talking about themselves or they're talking about us.
Are you talking about
okay,
us
we'll just do this.
or somebody else? Maybe it's kind of just like nonsense for us to just kind of walk through these willows. Company. Just says company.
Company.
Possible.
Company possible?
Possible.
The biggest willow just flicked me right in the...
okay.
The biggest willow is touching my...
I've been using capitals for ghosts, so we're gonna just keep up. We're gonna keep using capital G ghosts.
I'm trying.
You killing someone is just regular cleanup. You get access to the tridents again. Tridents.
Who are you?
Who are you?
It's like a nesting area.
They really do be mean. And G is for ghost.
That's not good.
No, G is for fish, obviously.
Everything else is not flat. All of these are
Common
flat.
Rider Ghost, is that a thing?
What is this?
Is Common Rider Ghost a thing?
Something big.
Squished them all.
All right, let's see. How do they describe the Spirit Talker app?
I am getting the chills.
That's seriously not good.
No.
Google Play.
Look all around. Made it.
Make a noise?
Description?
Give him a whistle, right?
Just description?
Guys, look at this. All around us.
Oh, here,
These
we'll do it
willows
this
are
way.
Still standing besides this area.
Yeah, that's really strange.
It is legit like a nesting spot. I may be
Is
just
this whole
like
48 episode
tripping,
series?
but this stuff does happen.
Is this where somebody sleeps? Maybe a creature.
Oh. I've seen this one before. I didn't realize his name was Ghost.
I almost fell back.
Dead.
Yeah, I did not know this guy's tag was Ghost.
I was just thinking that.
You know how like there are all kinds of animals.
I just love the fan art from somebody of me as Common Rider. Is it Wizard?
Like eat and
Yeah.
feast.
Yeah, it's
What if
Wizard.
That's what they were doing this
Yeah.
whole time, laying this down and making a spot, like a plate. A
I kind
dinner
of like Common Rider.
for Us.
It's pretty neat. I like the design that goes into the characters.
Just got lured to the dinner plate.
They may have won already. You ever seen Jeepers Creepers?
Oh, what the? Dude, something just got thrown.
I heard that. Something just got thrown at us.
Jeepers, creepers.
Something just got thrown at us.
Where'd you get those peepers?
Who's up there?
Okay.
Literally almost hit us.
And then I just realized that I did not do any of the effects.
You know, like you
Shadow
can hear-
time.
That literally landed right here, like a foot away.
Did you throw something?
Throw it again.
Oh wait, shit.
Woman.
Stalk!
Shut up, dude. Woman.
Woman stalk!
That's fine.
Bro, just like we thought something was watching us?
Yeah, literally. That gives us confirmation of the woman.
Trying to
too.
double
That literally
check
confirms. Is she the one that's
angle,
tricking us?
distance. Okay, hold on.
I got an idea, Rye. Turn that lantern out.
No.
Oh, it's moving them.
That was horrible timing.
That's
Did you just hear that?
weird.
We're in the dark now.
Dude.
I can't see anything. I
Me
cannot
neither.
see anything.
Hmm.
Follow. The bell just went off. What if they want us to go back to the camp?
That's weird.
Okay, this is the shadows don't work well with the look I'm going for these apps, so that's fine.
We were told
That's okay. We can still do this.
That sound like.
Can you show
That's
us
a
where you
cricket
are,
sitting
please?
right next to you, sir. That is, in fact, a cricket, as we like to call this. I did not mean. I don't know. I want to do the animate. No bad cease. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. I need effects. And then color.
Ahead.
Gray.
Hike. This is crazy, dude.
This is weird.
This is
Sure,
literally
good dark
insane.
gray.
Do you want us to go back to our camp?
This is odd.
Show me.
Huh?
Ahead, hike. Show me.
It sounds like something is slowly creeping towards us from that direction.
That is still the sound of the
Throw
bushes.
something again?
What's up? Good consumer where I need your opinion on TTRPG. I purchased them looking at Scum and Villainy, Traveler Core Book of the Reason, Natural Fantasy Expansion for Fabula Ultima Thoughts. I don't know anything about the Scum and Villainy.
Do we do? That is scary.
Is Scum and Villainy like a side spin of Mutants and
Just to
Masterminds?
show everyone right now, this is what we're seeing.
I confiscated Ordain's guns to the locker again. Oh, thank goodness.
4 words. Ahead. Hike.
Double shield build, awesome. That's something you can do in Fabula Ultima.
Last 5 words. Ahead. Hike.
Okay,
get,
45.
kill, Beast.
Wait, like if we go forward, we're gonna get killed by something?
No,
Go deeper?
probably
I
not.
have no idea.
Are you coming towards us?
You said show me. Can you show yourself to us?
Tedious shits. Tedious shits.
Come towards us. What is this beast?
I just heard it right here, and then I heard it this way.
Yeah, it's like if moved from point A to point B.
Ghost.
What is this beast?
Roast?
Ghost?
Ghost? Oh, I thought it said
You
roast.
sure it's a ghost?
I was like, are we roasting each other? Is that the plan? Is that what we're doing now?
To point B. Whoa. Travel.
Okay.
If that's you and you can hear us,
Ooh.
make another noise right here.
Ooh. I think I kind of want to use this as something funny.
Is it the skinwalker
Okay,
or
so
somebody else?
for
Do you
this,
feel that cold wind
Yeah.
that just comes out of nowhere?
Yeah.
I just felt like a hot wind and then a cold wind. If there is somebody over there,
You will die.
you will die.
Whoa. That's literally what we just said. If we go farther, you get killed by the ghost beast.
Ghost Beast.
How did this beast get here? What is it? Tell us.
I was just gonna say if there's
I hate this. I hate this so much. All right, we're gonna duplicate
one
this.
spirit. There's
We're gonna
many
duplicate
people
this.
that unfortunately died here at the lake.
You did say turn
Slide
around.
you here.
Like somebody.
I'm
was
gonna leave
running
this one as default, the default background. I like
They
this
want
as
us
the
to go
default
back
background.
because maybe that's some sort of like,
Chat, you know what time it is.
way? I don't know.
I think wherever we are right now is probably the worst spot to be in.
Yeah.
Detach.
Was literally right there.
Something was lurking.
Stop moving.
All right, chat.
So you
Trauma
said
time.
from there-
Trauma time. It's white woman time.
On this side.
Oh, I hate it. Oh, I hate it.
Even know if we can we get further?
I don't think so.
Should we continue?
I wish I could turn it into a circle, but then I just literally just max the corner rounding.
Whistle. Did you just hear that? That was to the right. That was to the right of us, dude.
Or like an
That
oval.
was one of the clearest whistles I think we've ever heard.
Stuck here.
Stuck here.
Again.
Stuck here.
Every time.
If you're over there by our camp,
Can you hit one of those devices?
Do I just say a
Please.
white woman or a white woman?
Then you hear the whistle there.
That was on the island. That was literally right over there.
Here, let me change the centering here.
Among.
Dude.
Among.
Oh my god. Whistle again.
This is so stupid.
We'll come closer if you do.
This is so stupid.
Please.
Next to it.
Next to it. Our camp. Our camp. Go to the camp. Let's go to the camp. Yes.
Watch them ring the bell, dude. Watch them ring the bell.
Stop having gunfights in my chat. A white woman.
Outside. Are you over there?
Just not a fucking Cabs video. White man jump scare.
Yeah.
Why? That's weird.
God. Okay, hold on. Hold on. I gotta go find Cabs fucking TikTok now.
Us. I don't know, man.
Oh
Alright,
my
where's
God.
Cabs fucking TikTok?
That is so scary.
Us, dude.
Plural. Oh, shut the up.
What?
Come here, Cab.
Where am I?
Okay, where is it?
I'm pretty.
Oh god, it's older than I thought it was. Oh, there it is. Okay, hold on.
Look at that. Flashbang! White man jump scare! Check goes wild for the head. You have no idea. I had the deep urge because I'm looking down and
That's it. Sorry, I was just thinking of the white man jump scare. We're not gonna. He has it in like another part. Hold on, let's see if we can find it here. So this is the one we just watched.
So buff.
That's not it.
I had a buddy who scared himself awake with a fart one time.
That's not it.
Was the Joker look intentional? Just as a 6'4" goth dude, Hey Rabbit gives me never-ending serotonin. I love that. I have 2 bunnies. One is like
Cab has bunnies? I didn't know that.
like,
That's fucking precious.
hair, and his name is Thor. And then I have another rabbit, which is his brother, and his name is Loki. And
Oh my
I
god.
dropped my brother on his face.
No, I want to find the other one where he actually uses it as a fucking jump scare. That I literally fucking. It actually scared me the first time I saw it. God damn it. I'm so upset. I'm so upset. Although there was this one.
You're still live? What the hell? What do you mean, what the hell? Like, it's only been like... Not... Wait, hold on. Wait. No, y'all with me.
I wish I could find the video I saw yesterday. Me watching Anna Trosis fucking streams. It hasn't been that long. Anna, you've been streaming for 12 hours.
Yeah! So... Just...
I'm sad. I'm sad I couldn't find the one where he actually uses it as a jump scare. You didn't save it? No, I didn't. It was funny at the time, but I was like, it's fine. It's just a cat. It's a Cab short. I'm not going to see it. I'm probably not going to see too many of them
I
again.
just saw glowing something right there. I'm not even kidding. Okay.
All right.
Then the bell goes.
Ooh,
and
what's
then
the
we
other
just
one?
heard that
Or
voice. You guys heard it. He is here. She is here.
here, we'll do native descendants.
No, look at my arms. Where? At the camp? Dude, we have to sleep here.
There's no possible way we can go anywhere. I
I'm
swear.
sorry, this is so fucking stupid.
What just happened? Should we go back to the camp?
Actually, hold on. We're gonna go a little more. We're gonna give ourselves a little space here, and we're gonna describe this as the.
Watch, right? See that?
Oh, I'm gonna butcher this. Quintessential
See that lowest star?
Yeah.
Watch
tool
right under it.
for
Just
any
thought I was tripping. I saw it twice.
successful ghost hunter.
I'm down. I'm gonna grab the Nox. Stay here. The Nox will be able to see it along the whole ridge line.
Do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was freaky. It was right there.
It looks super far away from us. It's not that far. It's
Hold
right
on,
at
I'm
the end
stealing a
of the
screen
willows.
grab of this.
I swear to God, it looked like someone stood up for a second and like moved and then stopped again and then went again. Like,
Shut up.
Going from top to bottom.
I don't know if Faye or Sire here, but this is so damn funny to me. I just realized what with the woman? What do you mean? Which part? Which part is it? Did you just realize?
Can you hear it? What? The whistling?
Can you hear it? Question
What the fuck? Why does it do that?
Did I not just literally ask you that? I said, did you hear that? It's the same thing. It sounds like the willows cracking.
Hear you moving around or talking or whistling? You up on the
Come back,
ridge?
edit.
It was right there.
It really doesn't like some of these images for some reason.
So far, I'm not really seeing anything.
I'm starting to feel
When it comes to trying to give it like a drop shadow.
super weird, guys.
I don't want the
This does not-
picture moved. I want the whole grid thing being
Point
shadowed.
at me.
I'm starting to feel really
How
weird.
could you? How could you do this
Super
to me?
weird, guys. This does not
Whoa.
feel good.
Don't point at me.
But see it like it gets rid of my fucking rounded corners.
Over that mountain. Me.
She is gone.
Dude, guys, something was looking at us. I saw something glowing over this
And
mountain.
like the glow thing kind of just
Peek
fucks the
down.
whole thing. Am I not like?
It's gone now.
Evil spirit.
Evil spirit. It's gone now.
I think now I'm selecting the grid.
Positive.
River, didn't you say you saw something glowing?
I did. I swear. It was up high. It was on that mountain all the. Escape.
Wait.
They're telling us to leave.
Dude, this is not good. Not good.
All the way up. All the way up there. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Just that thing is response. Gasp! A white woman.
Hey. I think it looked like somebody.
Warren.
It just said warn. It looked like something glowing.
You think I'm gonna get a cease and desist in the future for using this woman's likeness for something like this?
It just said warn. It looked like something glowing.
Fine. No shadows. No shadows for you then. All right. Did I do this one right? Okay, I did.
Shut up.
Wait.
Oh, right. These are duplicated, so they come with the shadows. Hell yeah. I'm so smart, dude. I'm so fucking smart. Okay, what else do we need?
I'm kind of scared, guys. I don't want to go anywhere.
Listen, this is a goofy VTuber PowerPoint. Do I need to have sources? Do I need to go back and start gathering sources?
I mean, if someone is
Am
here,
I gonna have to break up my
they have to
understanding of
be able to
MLA
develop
fucking
some-
formatted sources,
some information to help us,
including
figure
this lady's
out.
Facebook?
This is literally what we came for.
A mustache on her, so it's totally good to just find the most ridiculous, the most ridiculous. What was it? Just
Right there in the middle.
like clip arts mustache onto her.
Tallest one?
Dude. Come on. Hold on.
Actually, hold on. Let me see. Let's do. Let's actually take away these corners at all.
Who are you?
We're actually gonna do this instead.
This is getting scary.
Yeah, I saw your glowy thing.
It almost looks like a big ball.
Something's wrong.
I hate this. I hate this so much. Oh my god, why did I do this? Why did I do this to myself? This is so stupid. This is so stupid. Well, at least it's not the project that I had to do in one of my English courses where we had to make a convincing presentation, and I did mine on why anti-vaxxers are fucking stupid.
Crazy.
I don't think it'll be nearly as stupid as that.
That device never goes off. It's not a REM pod. No.
Wait, what is it?
From movement.
What is it?
Crazy.
That was scary.
Is it the?
Also, that
Oh, it's the
device
dead bell.
never goes
What's
off.
the fucking dead
It's
bell?
not a REM pod. No. It goes off from movement. Motion, dude.
So what if something
Uh-huh.
just passed it so
Sure.
fast?
Totally not. Totally doesn't come with a magnetic sensor on the inside.
Here.
We have to sleep with it.
All right.
Sleep with
Let's do
it.
this.
Listen, I'd be pretty pissed if I got woken up by a bell.
We are back at camp now.
Okay.
We have this method that we'd like to try with you.
This method? Oh, they've broken out the spirit box.
Let her come.
Did you just hear that?
Somebody
Okay.
moving around?
Is there anything else that we're forgetting in terms of resources that I grabbed?
I am. If you would like to talk to us maybe a little easier, speak to
A couple of
him,
the images
the
we
guy
didn't
that I'm
use,
pointing
but
at.
Use him as your voice.
they were unnecessary or redundant, so that's
Behind
fine.
you.
Why? Why is it always behind?
Where?
I'm just sleep problems with a
Make
ghost
noise.
all along. Is that why I'm a terrible sleeper?
Whistle,
You're telling me
say a
I'm actually
word.
haunted and I just didn't realize it?
Oh my god. Someone just whispered to me that was the scariest thing I've ever heard in my life.
You're on
Oh
a
my
spirit box,
God.
dude.
When we were just back there in
The,
those
the
willows,
funny thing too is somebody
we got
just
the
whispered to
impression
him and
that we
all
were
it
in
was
danger if we
was,
kept going farther.
want to break from the
Went
ads?
deeper.
You are.
What the
Oh no.
We also
Ordain, what are you
came in
standing around with your hands on your hips
contact
for?
with Logan
What's wrong, little man? What's wrong, little dude? You okay? You need a hug?
She is still here.
Need a little bit of uppies?
sadness? Ew. This device just said sadness.
Hold on.
If
Let me
she is
actually
still
ask
here,
Faye.
Can you tell him your name? Please. We really like to know.
Dude, it got so
Faye, do I
much
need
colder.
sources?
I said.
I'd have to double check how MLA format works again, because I don't remember it off the top of my
Somebody over
head.
here? Watching us?
Come out this
I didn't
way.
read your source. My source was I
Stand
made it the
behind
fuck
him.
up.
The one with this device in his hand. You can speak
I
to
mean,
him.
it would be this. It would be the same level of sources as the people who say that these tools work. So you know.
Do you hear that?
Someone just said, go!
Is that
Yes.
another warning?
Because you're listening to the
Are
radio.
we still not safe here? Even in our little camp area?
I wonder how bad it sounds when you turn it up really high and you're wearing headphones. Because those things are like the shittiest radios imaginable.
Slightest little movement of the twigs. Again, it's still not windy. Nothing else is making.
I think what I'll also put in here at some
It's
point,
just
or maybe I'll
slowly
have like
going from right to
intermittently,
Oh my god.
is links for like maybe examples of the tools.
You have to go. That was another warning.
Should I do that? I probably
Who was
should.
What the was that? Did you hear that?
I wonder if this thing lets me make hyperlinks.
Who is that woman? What's your name?
This we can get rid of.
Island.
My source is whatever makes me right. That is not how that works.
Why do we have to go? Walker. Dude.
Island Walker. It didn't say the whole word, but still.
Hold on a second.
Is that who we're speaking
Whoa. Someone just said that.
Oh,
Dead
good
Island.
lord.
Dead Island.
to? Wait.
Dead Island.
Remember earlier?
What the hell is all this?
You thought that this would be the place where they put their dead. You remember that?
Yeah.
It said something and then dead. Did this island have a different name? Is that what you remember it as? That's honestly really weird.
Oh no.
Are we talking to the Walker? That creature that you spoke of, the beast?
Okay, hold on.
Or is this woman a different entity, a different spirit?
Please give us all the information you can. Will we be safe if we stay the night here? We kind of have no choice now. We're stuck on this island. And I'm
Okay.
scared. So scared.
Okay, not a big deal to not have the sources for
Kinda
this.
is.
If people have questions about the sources, then I can find them again. It'd be totally fine. Just reverse image search the white woman psychic, and you'll find her Facebook. It's fine.
I just asked what we were talking to.
Goofy.
I didn't say the word.
It was like Skinwalker.
Ew.
The fuck it was. Hold on.
Call. Dude.
Someone just said Skinwalker. What the? Someone just said Skinwalker.
I just asked what we were talking to. I didn't say the word.
Mm-hmm.
It was like Skinwalker.
Ew.
You.
Are they here?
The way that was that Wyatt? I'm pretty sure that was Wyatt's ew.
I have half of a
Turkey.
Okay.
Turkey.
Uncertain. Think about this.
Half of a
I have
turkey.
half of a sandwich.
Oh darn it.
Has turkey and ham.
Turkey and ham. Oh, we're bougie over here. Okay, fancy sandwich, mister.
By just being here? By staying here?
Listen, it'd only be fancy if it was like a full Italian. Got to get all that pepperoni, salami,
Because we're trying to talk to it? Trying to see it?
Black Forest ham.
To her.
To her. Trying to talk to her.
I still question the validity of the Estes method that they've started using, because then it just means that you can't hear the spirit box anymore.
Because he's in the thing?
Do I dare include the Estes method on the spirit box page?
You mean him? The one that's talking to you?
Do we need to
Hear
include,
you?
like, just like underneath, just put in like, throw in a pair of headphones and a blindfold for something mystical called the Estes method?
I don't know if I want to do this right now. Oh my god, that was the weirdest thing ever.
Freeze.
What?
Someone just talked to me through these headphones.
Take them off.
Someone just, I'm not even kidding, dude.
Did you turn it off?
Someone just talked to me through these headphones. It was not the radio.
It was radio. It was radio, sir. Please and thank you.
Basically saying that I'm stuck.
A white woman.
And, like, they're in a whole
Are you including tarot cards? No. because they're not really used for ghost hunting. They're more used so that people can, like, if they're used during a ghost hunt video, like they use them, they don't use them until the newer stuff. But
My arms.
they're typically used more as like a fear factor for the people that already believe in them. I wouldn't call them a tool for ghost hunting.
Okay, so you know how, like, when you're in an Estes method, it goes through
I found a vid about Stop Killing Games explained with bananas. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I like that.
Continuous
Oh, speaking of Cab.
someone, like, actually, like, speaking to me. Like a phone call. Like somebody went
Okay.
asking for help. They're stuck somewhere. Something is
I just looked over and one of my one of my tabs was Cabal.
Guys, that was the craziest
I need a drink of water.
Was it like a high-pitched voice, a deep voice?
Basically.
Okay.
Was it a woman?
Oh my goodness. All right.
Was it a woman?
It was a woman.
Do we leave this or do we dare use?
My brain.
Oh, I didn't see this down here earlier. Bye.
Oh, not even through the headphones.
Through the headphones.
What the?
That is the weirdest thing I've
Okay.
ever experienced in my life.
Add page. Add transition.
Someone's stuck here. What if it's a
Talk to.
Right.
Like, what if she actually was the one?
Wait, that's weird that you said it was like in your head though.
So listen to this. She didn't like explain everything, if that makes any sense. But
Why
I
is this
almost
not,
felt like
like-
I knew exactly what she was talking about.
Like
what the
Color wipe, line wipe.
This place doesn't look the same for her.
I don't know.
That gave me the chills.
We're gonna make this uniform, so whatever we make it, we're just gonna apply it to everything, and then we'll see how it
You're here,
looks.
You can hear us still. Can
Slime
you see this light? The one with the metal rod sticking up out of it?
direction.
Did you just have your first sensitive interaction?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
I've never experienced anything like that in my whole entire life.
You know what's trippy too?
While you were in Estes, you said Dead Island?
I did.
When we were over in the Willows, remember it said something dead.
Yeah.
When it said
Okay,
that, it felt
okay.
like
I
someone,
misunderstood the direction that it wanted to
"That's
go.
Dead Island. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Came out of this device.
No.
Wait, can I do? Is it letting me do multiple?
The term dead and island from the Willows to here.
No. Okay. Okay. I see what it's doing. It's putting it underneath the thing. Okay. I want to see what this looks like. Apply to all between.
Sensitive interaction.
That is trippy.
You know how like people like have those sensitive
what the fuck?
abilities and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
That's like something that like some person with that
That doesn't feel
kind
like a
of ability
transition.
would see or feel or hear.
Describe, yeah.
By
Color
all means,
wipe.
we always do say like we feel like we do not have sensitive abilities, but we do believe that twins do attract a lot more energy for sure.
Hmm.
Why do things? What's up?
I just got a really bad pain.
Should we take a break?
I don't know.
Oh, it doesn't look like I can
I don't know what I
change
just
the
experienced.
color.
Remember it said making a mistake, and then the device said you. I asked if they meant
Okay,
him.
hold on.
Oh,
Do you remember that? I pointed at you. I was like, do you mean him? Because he's
Yes.
trying to talk to them?
holy!
That might have been a mistake.
I think we're just gonna do slide. We're gonna keep it
Maybe
simple
you
and
could
just do
describe
slide.
What just happened to you in your head?
And then let me double check.
The woman. Do you remember?
Puissant.
us? Were you the
Slide,
person
slide,
that we talked
slide,
to a
slide,
while
slide,
back
slide.
ago?
This,
And then technically we could
I don't
do
know what the fuck I
animations.
just experienced because it was
I
not.
used to do animations all the time for stuff when I was in college.
Did you talk to River
And
somehow?
I
Without the use of any of
Boom.
our electronics here?
animate.
How did you do that?
Appear on click.
Walker.
Mm,
What do you mean again? It said Walker already.
Shut up.
I want
Yeah,
like a
second time.
pivot.
After I
Ooh, okay, that's a little too much. No, 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 no,
The
no.
weirdest night I've
Tumble?
ever had.
That's freaky.
It's
Okay, that's
almost
too
started.
far.
We haven't even.
I don't like those
gotten
origin
all
points.
Cuddled up and gotten in our sleeping bags and really rested. Like right now, we are kind of pushing for it. Just like a lot of times when we do like.
Here, if
stay
I
at
select this,
locations
can
that don't
I
have the batteries, don't
on
have the
enter,
power, continue
direction?
the investigations and stuff.
Ah,
a lot
fuck you.
Happens off camera. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like when we don't force the investigation, things might get either worse
Something
or
else, something
calm
else.
down.
Baseline?
We don't know.
There
Ooh.
is like another realm. What if there is like spirits out there that totally see this completely different?
I believe it.
It's hard to
Okay.
understand what
Yeah, we'll
I
go with
was
that.
just told because
And
everything
then
was like
you
super fast,
animate.
Just like
but sounded normal.
to sum it
Send
up, she
no.
needs help and she's stuck.
Merge,
because I feel
no.
like this has been what
I
we've
want
been
you
told
pan
through the device.
Exactly, but
on enter.
the vision I basically got was like, this is different. This is all different. I don't know how to explain it. I'm sorry. I don't know how to explain that.
Here, let me do this again.
Sorry.
Because I don't think I actually want this on click. I actually want them to come
Maybe what
in
we should do. Shut the cams
at the
off,
same
take a
time.
break, light a fire, relax a little bit. We could pop
And
cameras back
mates.
on once we're, you know, settled in.
Give me a fade.
Sound good?
Have a fade. Blur? Blur could work.
That'd probably help us calm down a little bit.
That's crazy.
I can't change any of those because they have crowns next to them. I only get basic animations.
Of all the times for
Carnival
River to have
anime
some
win. Not
weird
that kind of
stuff
animations.
happen in his head is the night that we're fully sleeping here. Going out cold, unconscious.
And then
I hear that too.
The device just said settled.
Dude, no.
Dude,
I think I'm gonna make
I cannot believe this device just said
most of
settled.
these.
You literally just got done saying
Okay.
settled. I said, what's the word I'm looking for?
And
The
then
device
tumble?
said settled. Shut up. That is so crazy. Okay, yeah, let's get our things together. Let's get settled in. Wow.
Cameras.
Yeah, wow.
This is
I
insane.
need you to pan in. Pan.
To the spirits here around us, if you can, please speak
And
loud
then
and clear into
these.
this device I'm pointing at. We're going to go ahead and ask
Blur
a couple of
informing.
questions here. Use your energy. Give us these answers that we are looking for, please.
You can be first.
Okay, you guys ready?
You on click.
Who has been talking to us this entire night?
Blur in. Also on click. Blur in. I forgot to change that part too.
The woman that spoke to me, what do you need help with?
Okay. This one we did by accident, by skipping ahead.
Again, can you tell
animation.
us your name?
Learning to use the program all over again. It's different. I've never used this one for a PowerPoint before. I've used pretty much almost exclusively Microsoft PowerPoints when I was in college. Pretty much exclusively. Aside from that one assignment with Prezi, and I did not like it. I did not like it. It felt cheap. That's a weird way to put it. It felt cheap. And then now it's even fucking cheaper because they force you to do like an AI generated nonsense.
Hang on.
It's also just a lot of this is stuck behind a premium cost, and I no longer have like regular PowerPoint. I would have to go use Google to make this, but I kind of like having the template. Here, let me do you because I know what you're gonna be. You are for sure gonna be Blur, but you.
I do no idea what that said, but whoa, we have to do another one.
I almost think it sounds like I don't
Enter.
remember my name.
Oh.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to do the on enter
Let's do
part
another one.
because
Please
I
try
don't want
and
them
speak more
to like
clear.
fade out again.
River.
Sorry, I thought it was gonna be silent, bro.
Dude.
Although this is very fast. If I don't click off of the
Please don't put that in, dog.
We can't give him SpaghettiOs after this, man.
Please, please give me SpaghettiOs.
No, dude.
Please.
SpaghettiOs.
No, River, those are 0-degree sleeping bags, so you have like no airflow going out of there. You are just slow roasting right now.
Please give me SpaghettiOs.
SpaghettiOs. I want SpaghettiOs.
Did you just hear that?
I'd like SpaghettiOs.
Please give me SpaghettiOs.
Okay, and then Blur. Blur. You on click. Blur in. You also on click. Blur in.
Is there something around us right now? Are they watching?
And then text only.
Are you gonna eat us?
They're add-ons. Can I get you to do something else? No. I don't think I can do anything else. I can't do pan and blur at the same time, which is kind of
There
dookie.
are any entities that
Kinda
can hear my
dookie.
voice, say whatever you want.
I wish it was giving me a little more of a preview, but it really doesn't. I think it's because it's kind of broken right now. So we're just gonna stick with the blur. Ooh. Do we make all of these do something annoying?
I think that's a yes.
Breathe? Ooh. Ooh. Pulse. Do we do the pulse? It's marked as add-on effects, so maybe we can take breathe and pulse.
So I think just go to sleep.
Oh wait, no, that doesn't work. A bit of SpaghettiOs keeps the ghost away. Listen, a can of SpaghettiOs will keep anybody away if you throw it hard enough. Don't you remember how much we got away with when we had canned spaghetti in Hitman? There were so many corpses. So much blood.
I don't know if it's
And I'd do it again.
That was creepy.
I think we should eat some SpaghettiOs.
That was actually freaky, dude.
I agree. I agree with the SpaghettiOs.
Some
of these are just like flickering. They're basically like the same fucking thing. Come on!
Again, I've never experienced anything like that, and to really explain it, I just don't know how to explain it.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. In the time it took us to set up to do the EVP, I was feeling
Skulls for the Skull Throne? Oh no.
You know, now 10 times worse.
Breathe.
Yeah. After hearing those, I don't feel.
Nah, we're gonna go with the pulse on this one. Okay, that's fine. Let's actually see real quick. Oh, I hate that. I hate that. Okay, that's awful.
How do we help?
I don't want to sleep here anymore. Not right here, at least.
Weird, because I remember you saying that you wanted to sleep there.
Can I bunk it with one of you?
Yeah, dude, I got plenty of room right here.
Oh,
That
wait.
was loud.
Yeah.
Oh, it's because Wiggles turned on. Wait, how do we turn clear? There we go, clear.
Okay, I think we should just...
Pulse.
If you guys don't mind making me some SpaghettiOs.
Okay, I hate that. I hate that a lot.
Cold? Yeah, make them for me. How do you make cold SpaghettiOs, man? Just open up the can, right?
Didn't you get little
Pop?
Somewhere. You know what really sucks? Man, I took my shoes off. River took his shoes off. I don't know anybody else who may have their shoes on to possibly
Nothing?
find the
It doesn't
spoons.
seem like it's doing anything.
I'll use a stick.
I've shaken
White
the
woman
can
jump scare.
before.
Exactly, Sai. Exactly.
Slurped out the SpaghettiOs.
Stop.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I feel really safe right now.
You look safe right now.
On the real though, let's do something.
Oh my god, come on.
I just want to set some boundaries for myself and the two others who are here with me. Yes, we are staying here on this island. You cannot harm us. You cannot attach yourself to any of us. You leave us be. If you need any help, come and talk to us. We will be staying the night here and leaving in the morning. So if at any point in time you would like to come and talk,
What the fuck?
talk to him.
What?
Oh no. Okay, hold on.
Whisper in my ear or something.
She wanted to talk to you, so obviously she wants something. She
Uh,
wants a
da-
piece,
da- da- da-
a piece of that.
Why?
What's in that sleeping bag with you?
Okay.
Do you know how long that's been there?
So we did the same thing with this one, so we need to turn you off.
Gone off.
You off. Okay.
Well, this is me moving it.
Oh, we didn't do this one. We did not do any animations for this one.
it
Of
off.
course, blur for words.
How would you set it up?
All of these can, pan,
What?
rise. Won't rise.
You really do look like a worm.
I do?
You're in your natural habitat.
I love worms.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna test this.
Oh, look at that, a sandwich.
You got a sandwich?
Dude.
Did you know bees don't sleep?
Bees don't
Why
sleep.
did you not do anything?
Did you know bees are noisy because they beat
Hello?
their wings 11,400 times per minute?
Wow.
Yeah. Sometimes I get a little lonely when I go camping.
Huh?
Where's the
What? Dude, no way. You brought a cow?
Yep.
What's your name?
Cow. His name's Melky. I didn't bring anything.
Okay, why are these not? It me? Hi, Weasel.
We came onto this island because
I am
feel
Weasel.
like we uncovered enough to definitely know that there is an entity here.
Like, this one works.
The woman that we spoke to the last time.
Oh, I got very confused looking at OBS and seeing them. I was like, wait, what the fuck is that? Why isn't this doing anything?
I think we got a little bit closer to whatever it is, but I'm also starting to
Fucking
get the
nothing,
feeling-
apparently. Both? Do I need to have these marked as both? Here, let me look at you.
What's Ryan doing?
Animate.
What?
Yeah, y'all are marked on enter. What the fuck?
Huh? How many of those you got? I don't know what you're talking about. You got another one? What are you talking about?
It's not a cow.
Like, this one
Not
works
another
perfect.
cow.
What you got?
This is just appears.
Dude.
As I was saying, whatever's going on here is like.
Oh, you
ancient.
are so
I think it goes
annoying.
back too far.
You are so annoying.
He's got a gelada.
What?
Okay, so that was not how we needed to do it.
You got a freaking stuffed
Thick order?
cow and a beer? Yeah. How's that fair? I woke up at 9, I packed all this stuff, and I brought my cow, and I brought me 2 beers. 2 beers? Yeah. I don't know, I'm kind of thirsty. Rock, paper, scissors over it, boys.
Best 2 out of 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I miss fucking the options for Windows PowerPoint having the point where you could can I actually make an animation?
1-to-1.
Shoot. That's actually kind of cool.
Fuck.
Let's go, jazz hands, baby!
I lost.
I don't know. I feel like it's only
Needs
right
more
if you
animated
have some
firework
drink
art?
with that
No.
sandwich.
Thank you for self-care.
Let me finish.
You can have some.
As I was saying, I feel like whatever's going on here is so
Also, hold on a second. Coco wants out, so give me a minute.
So many years that it's almost like become lost.
It's a huge mystery for sure. That's why I really wanted to come back.
Like even on the shores of Lake Mead, the only thing that really made 100% sense to us was the victims, the
Okay.
bodies they were finding in the lake.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else that we seem to
The
encounter.
ghost
is just
accepts
like,
your
I don't
terms
know,
and conditions,
something-
ask the rules. That's not a ghost, that's a demon. You just sold your soul
We
to.
do decide to come back to this island. You know,
Okay,
obviously we step it up every time
fuck.
we do something like wild like
Starting to think these
This is the
animations
second
just like
time
broke
that
the whole
we've come here
fucking
to this
presentation.
island. We're stepping it up. Now we have a
Jesus.
little bit more of an idea on what is going on here. Maybe we bring
Why does this
somebody
only work
who
going
is
forward
more
and is not
sensitive
actually doing
to
any
spirits
animations?
around, right? We need a medium. We need somebody that can help
Wow,
us
these are
get
so
more
fucking
answers.
fast, dude.
If we decide to come back here and do that, we can.
You have no
definitely
animations for
bring
some reason.
help. Because there is a woman here. If they went as far as
Motherfucker.
getting into River's head to try and, talk, that's huge. That has never happened.
I've never experienced anything like that in my life.
The closest that has ever happened is ringing into River's head, right? Remember, it dropped him to his knees.
Yeah.
This spirit is obviously strong enough
Okay.
to actually get through.
If you're here,
Or do I
with
dare?
us,
Let's do it
I
this
have
way.
this device that you can say yes or no. Can you please let us know if you're here?
No.
What?
Instantly animate pages in your
Still waiting
style
for
of your
mine.
fucking choice. Oh, good
I
lord.
won. Fair and square.
All right. Why? Why are you not working? I can't change it. I can't change direction. I can't change intensity. All I can say is both. Just mark it as both.
I just brought like 5 of them. I should have. What?
I'd leave.
I'd leave?
Yes. Shut up, dude. Shut up.
Unfortunately, we can't. We can't get off this island right now. We have no way.
That's actually uncomfortably scary.
Why is it saying it now? Literally while we're getting comfortable.
I really don't like that. I'm not gonna lie.
What happens if we don't leave? Are you gonna show yourself to us? What if
None
we
of these
wake up and
fucking
one of
work.
us is gone?
Why do none of these fucking work?
Terrifying. Might as well go
Crisp.
out with a bang.
Crisp,
Missing
budding.
411 cases. Shit like this happens a
Blur,
lot.
blur, blur.
Who says that shit before going to sleep?
Should I lighten the mood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. honeybees are the only insects that produce food.
Reverse exit. That's actually kind of cool, but that's not what I want to do.
I don't feel any better.
What to do? Hi, Bomb. Huh? Oh, were you talking about the magic anime thing? That's a premium thing. Apparently, it's new too.
All right.
You probably they probably just have like templates. I'm guessing. Like I can click it. We can see.
Try and get a little sleep. Pack up. Get off this island.
Yeah, there's just styles, and it'll basically animate probably like everything.
Oh man.
Like that's fine. That's just another like version of templates. As long as the program recognizes what's words, what's pictures, and does like specific things to them, that's easy. That's just programming.
Good night.
AI made PowerPoints would be if you went to like Prezi.
Good night, River. Good night, River.
You would see, I clicked Prezi. AI presentations is what they're fucking called now.
Good night, Ryan.
And I had signed in. I'd signed into my Google account to try and use it again before I realized that it was going to make me make an AI generated PowerPoint that then I would then have to go change. So then I came to use Canva.
Good night, River.
Good night, guys.
Goofball.
Good night, Skinwalker. Fuck you.
But why are these animations not working here? Let me see if I can do something here. Close that.
Well,
check file for saved. All changes saved.
Whole night. And
Close
I
it.
didn't wake up at all. That's probably because we were investigating
Bring it back up.
so late that we just conked out. So honestly, if a skinwalker would have taken one of us, none of us would have woken up.
There was one moment when I was like about to fall asleep.
No
I think River was
animations.
still
Why?
up, but I heard it too. It was back here and it sounded like that same sound, like branches snapping, but it was like longer than what you would think it would be. Because me and River both looked at each other and we thought it was like the fire, and River looked
A
at me
white
like,
woman!
What was
Oh,
that?
I'm so upset that why aren't the animations working? It even says they're animated.
He goes,
Why?
and just rolls over. That was it.
I think the only thing
Nothing.
we can do
It
right
does
now is pack
nothing.
the rest of our stuff
Why?
up, wait for our ride, hop on the boat.
Is it bugged? Is the website busted?
Island. It was
Oh my
crazy,
god.
but I'm ready to go.
Okay. Maybe I'll try editing it in. Good night, Ordained. Sleep well. Maybe later I'll take a swing, editing it, like downloading it. Let's see if I can do that. I'm pretty sure I can. Yeah, download. Oh shit.
Okay, we just got picked up. We hope you guys did enjoy this episode. If you would like us to make a return and stay the night once again on Skinwalker Island, but this time
We'll save it as
bring
PowerPoint.
somebody who has more, I guess, an ability to talk with the spirits and more understand.
Okay,
like a
I'll download
psychic
that and then I'll
medium.
upload it to Google Drive and see if I can use their animations to kind of fix it up a little bit better.
That might be the next step. So if you guys would like us to
Copy
do that,
editors will
let's get
still
this
have
video to
job security, I guess.
likes. And yeah, we hope
Copy
you guys,
editors?
once again, enjoyed the episode. We love each and every one of you.
All
If
right.
you are not subscribed to this channel yet, you keep finding yourselves coming back, or you are new and you like what you
That
see, please hit the subscribe
good
button. We're
timing.
on our
Thanks,
way to
River.
2 million. We will see you next week. Peace.
All right, Elle. I'm gonna work on that a little bit later, but we got most of what I needed done. I'll probably add a ending slide at some point. Proofreading AI slop, yeah. That's I couldn't bring myself. As soon as I realized that's what it was. Hi, internet capture. Anyway, that's fine. I'm still trying to figure out who we're gonna raid. We may raid Fairbanks, but I think. What is Anna doing? Anna's still doing Five Nights at Freddy's. So, spooky time, chat. Spooky time? Spooky time. I think it's spooky time. All right. Oh, what was that? Kyle, thank you for the follow. I'm sorry I missed it earlier. And atrocious. Few problems. I just checked. Oh, thank you, Cal. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I'll take a look at it later. I have like the entire weekend to work on it. This is going to be pretty much all we're doing here for the week. However, tomorrow we're going to have Mage in the morning, 11 a.m. CDT. Saturday is going to be free, and then Sunday night we are going to have Vampire at 6 p.m. CDT. If you haven't joined the Discord, I highly recommend joining it. We may may end up doing a movie night tonight. I owe y'all more Conjuring stuff. If we do a movie tonight, it will be the original Annabelle movie from the Conjuring series. Corvus the Greedy, thank you for the follow. Welcome in, guys. I appeared to bite people and ask questions to Marin because Marin deserved question. Well, thank you for question, Roderick. All right, guys. What do we want to do for a raid message? Tired. We're going to use the tired emotes. 1 PowerPoint later. Dead. Just dead. All right. Thank you, Corvus. We're here most days of the week, Monday through Thursday. If you ever want to swing by for another stream, we'll actually be doing games on Monday. Come around. I don't know exactly which game just yet. It's probably going to be Resident Evil 1, but it may be something else. There's no telling right now. It could end up being Abiotic Factor if I get addicted to it over the weekend, or a Killing Floor. Who fucking knows? But until then, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for being awesome. And thank you for enjoying the show. Good night.